Hey everybody, what's going on? It's 101 Weekly Live episode 27. Sorry, we were in the chat room. I had not even finished eating my dinner, so I was trying to rush to get my dinner through before I could start the show. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We got a jam-packed show for you, and I just want to welcome to the panel Bertram. Bertram, how you getting on, bro?
I am doing well. It's as we talk about every single week, the U.S. is a hotbed of a lot of different stuff that's happening. Coronavirus on the back burner, shockingly, given its impact globally. And here we're talking a lot about protests and racism and remediation efforts and a lot of different things. But I think it's good, actually. There are things that are arisen that needs to be addressed and have been going on for the last 400 years. And we have meaningfully addressed them. So hopefully, and from what I see, it seems like we're going through a change which may be meaningful and sustainable versus one which you see periodic protests and rioting, and then you go back to normal. Corona is still here, and my concern is that the protests bring together crowds across the entire US, across the globe, frankly. If you look at Italy and the UK and New Zealand, most of the industrialized countries seem to have protests ongoing, but the virus is still present. And the question is, what's going to be the fallout from going through a meaningful time in history in terms of trying to make sure we correct past wrongs, but at the same time putting ourselves at risk as it relates to the virus. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. What I was most encouraged by, though, is a combination of a couple of things. One is the diversity in the crowds that protest, but most importantly, the age of the crowd. So a lot of youths are out there marching. I've always believed the baby boom generation has been an entitled one and has sort of failed in terms of the globe from a number of different reasons. And that the young generation who are much more advanced in their thinking and much more see people for who they are versus what they look like or what their race is, may change things and seem to be definitely focused on ensuring that this is long lasting and that the change is something which is not a one-off situation, but happens meaningfully so.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the gay community, the transgender community, we've seen all these different things come out because of the society of today. And I call them screenagers because these teenagers are always got their face on their phones. So these screenagers are really making a stand in terms of what's accepted and what isn't. And this should go along the lines of liberating police brutality, black people, and what they've suffered with. Today, I made a long video. I swear it was about 17 minutes. It's on my other channel, Apollo Dean Campbell. I just actually uploaded it while we were in the room before we started this one because I've been working on it all day. And I was really passionate about what we were talking about, quite angry, had a go at Drew Brees. It's quite a long video, actually, and talks about the protests in great depth. And I just felt these things have to be said. And I made the video because I heard a lot of people saying all lives matter. And I heard people saying blue lives matter. And I just was like, excuse me, what? You know, no. Let's stay on target here and realize why people are marching. We're not marching because blue lives matter. We're not marching because all lives matter. We know all lives matter. And there are some lives that are better off than black lives. So when we say all lives, well, all lives statistically doesn't float with this march because black people are, in terms of the population, more than half, in fact, a quarter of what the white minority is, but yet they get murdered twice more. So therefore, there's something against the oppression of black people that needs to be talked about. That's why it's Black Lives Matter. So the video that I made was quite passionate in terms of trying to correct the narrative away from all lives matter, blue lives matter, and all this stuff, and to just try to bring everybody back on point that it is Black Lives Matter. That's why we're here. That's why we're marching. Let's not get the message twisted. Let's not take our eye off the ball. everyone's got their time, everyone's had their marches and everything else. This is about us right now. So much appreciated for that. How's your week been, Latin African Guna? And update us, what's going on in South Africa, man?
Yeah, nothing much. Things are same old, same old. Obviously, we moved down to level 3, so I think businesses have started to run way more. I'm still working from home at the moment, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change for a while. But at least people are able to start feeding their families and start kind of getting back to regular life, which is good. But yeah, apart from that, nothing really much.
So it's in terms of no protests at all. You've seen nothing on the news.
No protests.
Wow. Okay. I know it's happening in Australia. I know it's happening in various countries in Europe. I know it's happening in Hong Kong as well. Well, they were marching way before that, but in London, obviously, it's been loads of marches. Canada, it's pretty much widespread where the protests are. So it's strange to hear that there's no marches in a black country like South Africa. It's very, very strange. Tony, how have you been? How's your week?
It's been tiring, my friend. It's been very, very tiring. I do a huge amount of work in the black community with my charity, the 100 Black Men of London. I also mentor children separately. And as anyone who follows me on my Instagram, which is @thepugilistboy, or on Facebook or on Twitter, will be able to see I do, and I have for, since those things, since even before MySpace, I've always promoted black issues. And so I've kind of weeded out all those, what I call SWSs from my feed. People who want to give it, all lives matter. People who want to give it blue lives matter as well. So I don't get all those issues. I did that check on my Facebook page to see who are my friends as a supporter of Donald Trump, and I had a very few people. So I don't get many people cutting against my rhetoric and talking against my viewpoints on fighting oppression. But what I do have is a lot of avid followers and friends, especially white friends, who were interested in actually mobilizing. So I think this is a great time. I think a lot of people are now saying, okay, not only am I going to look at what you're saying, I'm going to try and involve myself in what you're saying.
Yes.
And it's been tiring for me this week, because I've literally spent every day speaking to people one-to-one, online, behind the scenes, on telephone calls, in meetings, about how do you address racism? A, within yourself in your house, B, within your workplace, and C, just outside in society in the greater scheme of things. So I've had a very busy week, and anyone who wants to reach out to me like that, feel free. That work for me never ends, and it's been something I've been doing for many years. And one of the things that I tell people is it's about education. And there was a great speech by Killer Mike, which is, again, it's on any of my feeds. Killer Mike this week with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bailey came out and said you can remove racism in 20 years if you follow Jane Elliott's example of how to educate children. In 20 years you can eradicate most, not all, but most racism. So go ahead, look on my page, go look for the interview with Killer Mike, because he's profound, and anyone who saw me post this week will say Killer Mike for president. And he's got a lovely t-shirt on that says "Kill your master" or "Kill the master." But he explains why he's got that t-shirt.
Excellent. Ebony, we've missed you. She's look, we're getting some props here for Ebony. We've missed you, Ebony. How have you been, man? How have you been?
I've been all right. Hi, folks. Yeah, I've been all right. Yes. Thank you, bullions. Yeah, I've been all right. I mean, I've been, what have I been doing? I've been doing my 2 radio shows, which I really want to get you guys on as guests.
To the people.
Yeah,
I said,
definitely,
all power to the
definitely.
people. Thank you very much,
That's
Ebony.
it.
On behalf of me and my family, I saw you representing. Yeah, I love what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
You're blessed.
thank you. Yeah, I went to one of the protests on Wednesday as well. It was difficult to keep the social distancing, which you're not going to do anyway. But I tried my best, but it just wasn't happening. But you know, it's a good cause. You know, this isn't the time now to go into why. We all know what it's about, but I had to get down there because I feel passionate about it, and you know, people who know me know I like my protests, and I get to them whenever I can. So, but yes, that's been my week really. Yeah,
Excellent,
been
excellent.
pretty productive.
Good. So, guys, we got a jam-packed show to do today, so I'm just going to get right to it. Also, listen, big shout out to everybody in the chat room: Cool K, James, 18, Football with Brownie, Gunner Dread. Good evening to you as well, Gunner Dread. We've got Aaron. Big shout out to you, Aaron, man. Blow goons. And listen, today we're going to visit quite a few things. We have got to talk about Thomas Partey first, because the word is that the terms have been agreed, the personal terms. I haven't heard anything on my texts. I've not heard any agent say anything to me about it. So we have to take it with a pinch of salt. I don't know how true this is. Nobody is breaking this early, and they probably wouldn't, because if player terms are done, then that's one thing. The biggest thing, it needs to be the fee. However, I do believe that it's not a fee per se. He does have a release clause about 43 million. So it's just a formality if Arsenal have made terms with the player that they meet the release clause. And so that's not a difficult thing. This isn't a thing where a team can start to do what Crystal Palace did with Zaha. This isn't them trying to hold Arsenal to ransom. There is a release clause in there, and it's just a matter of meeting it. So I want to work my way around. And also, guys in the chat, do you think that is what we need to set us on fire? Do you think that that's the one deal that would set this thing out of the stratosphere? Bertram, what's your thoughts on that? You got a conch?
It's part of the solution, but it's not the total solution. I mean, we do need it. We've been needing a CM since about 15 years. It's been a long time that we haven't had a real centre midfielder who's domineering, who has all the attributes, physical attributes and skill that you need to function and play well and be dynamic in that area. So I think he's part of the solution. I'm going to use Ebony's line, which is, until I hear it on Arsenal.com that the thing is done, I'm not getting excited at all about this. We hear these things all the time. I mean, even Zaha, I was watching his interview talking about how excited he was knowing that we were pursuing him last year. And we heard a lot in the news, and then it never materialized, right? So you have to wait until these things materialize. But I'm not sure we're going to get the money from. We talked about the player side personal terms. As you're saying, that doesn't matter until the team agrees the fee.
Yeah.
You could have personal terms all you want. Your agent could be pushing for a move because agent want their fees. But until you decide, until Atletico Madrid decide that they're going to sell the player. And the question is, do we have the resources? Now, when we bought Pepe, we didn't spend 70 million. We allocate that over about a 4 or 5 year period. So you can buy players, but you're just deferring the problem to later on because you got to pay up at some point in time. Yeah. I think Saliba was a deferred payment deal. Pepe was a deferred payment deal. That thing is coming on the back end. It has to be paid at some point.
Yeah, but remember, 84% of the deals done in European football are done like that. It was just we were falling behind the times. That's why. Right. I mean, we even still up to this day, Bertram, calculate a player's contract over the length of the time. So if you pay 20 million for a player and that player makes 100 grand a week, you're adding all those things on for 3 years. So you're saying, okay, essentially the deal is 26 million. Or the deal is 36 million, not 20 million. Arsenal taking account of the whole, no teams do that. Only we do that. So we're just really behind the times in our narrative of how we do business.
Yeah, and I see where Spurs borrowed a couple £100 million because of their shortfall. I mean, that's a lot of money to borrow if you're Tottenham with a stadium that was going to be bringing a lot of revenues, because now that revenue is dried up, right? You got to pay down your debt. So we don't have some of those debt that Spurs have, but at the same time, I'm not sure we have the spending flexibility we would like to go out and acquire who we need.
So what we take from that, and again, guys, I made the statement saying I haven't had any texts, so I don't know how true this Partey deal is, but we do know there's a release clause. David Ornstein confirmed that, so we do know it's not a matter of whether the player can go. He can. We know he can. It's a matter of where he wants to go. And unfortunately, I don't have any feedback on that, but the rumor is that he has agreed personal terms. So even though it's not confirmed or not, just even I'd like to get your feedback on how you feel about that if it was to happen. African Guna, what's your thoughts?
Before we go to African Guna, by the way, we need a midfield, period. So he's just part of the solution. We need a midfield.
Yeah, African Guna, go on.
Yeah, so for me, out of all the players that we could potentially get this summer, this is the guy that I want. This is the guy that I absolutely want in our team. As Bertram said, I don't want to get excited. As we've all said, it's classic Arsenal. How many times do we agree personal terms with a player and then that player ends up going to a different team or it just, falls through? So I don't want to get too excited, but it is encouraging that the player that I'd like to see coming into Arsenal is actually, it seems like things are progressing and there's kind of positive rumors around it. We all know how the transfer rumors go around during this time. I mean, especially with Arsenal, the media love to use Arsenal to make money, right? So I'm staying on my feet at the moment. Like Bertram said, I think we definitely need I wouldn't call him a center mid. I would call him a center defensive mid because that's more of what he is. And I think that's more of what we need in terms of maybe replacing Torreira or Xhaka. I mean, Thomas Partey comes straight into our starting 11 and he starts every game for me. So that is very encouraging because we are looking to buy players that are going to come straight into the team and make a great impact. And in terms of what Bertram was saying about do we have the money or not, I mean, this guy only costs 43 million. We shouldn't be, you know what I mean? It's not that much for a team like Arsenal. I mean, if we're only going to make one huge signing, I mean, 43 million outlay isn't that much because I'm pretty sure we're going to be trying to get free transfers or swap deals after this one. So yeah, things are encouraging.
So I was just going through this thing and I've just messed up, so I'm gonna have to do it again. Remember I sent you guys this here we go, I found it again. Remember I sent you guys this sheet that shows we're getting some feedback from somebody's mic there. I'm not sure who it is. Remember I showed you guys this scene, this sheet which shows Ndidi, it shows Gay and it shows Partey, and when you look at the stats, Partey's stats isn't as good as the other two guys. So I was wondering to myself, what is the reason why everybody wants him? Is it because he fits in well with Atletico Madrid's team? Because look, if we look at Leicester City, if we look at PSG, defensively, the best outfit out of all of those, including Atletico, is Atletico. They are, without that, the best defensive team out of that outfit. So is it that he's coming from a great program defensively where he's disciplined and everything else can add to our own? Is that why people, because the stats are not out there in terms of, is that the reason why?
If I may address this one, again, Apollo, not everything's about stats. I know you love your stats, but at the end of the day, it's also about what you see on the pitch. I agree with you. It is important to see, look at the stats, but I don't think that says the whole picture. For me, yes, of course, Atletico, we all know that has a great defensive team, but primarily the reason that I like him is that when I look at him, one, he's an African player, so he's very physical. He doesn't look like I don't want to use the word, but it starts with a P, right? She's not a chicken, right? He's not going to take people for a ride. I mean, he's going to be a strong, solid player. He's an intelligent player. He's not only a defensive player, but if you see him, he has some moves and he has some skill. So he's a good mix of both a defensive and an attacking player, which is very rare to find. And yeah, I mean, for me, really, it's that the physical presence that he has, I think he'd be able to cope with the Premier League. And that's what we're looking for.
Okay, so Brownie's saying...
Don't forget, if you were going by stats, Mustafi is our best defender.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, with interceptions to go to go with it. But yeah, I hear you, man. The part, but again, the most important. That's why I asked you the question about: is it because of the program he's coming in? Because stats are one thing, but challenging for titles, keeping clean sheets, and that is what he's a part of, and he's the main brain behind that, and has been for a while. Brownie's saying that the party deal has collapsed. So again, it's just coming through about what we're hearing and being updated. We're just really waiting for something to happen on that. But we're going to go into that a little bit more because there are things happening in the team currently now where Arteta is looking for solutions. Celestine says, if it happens, a good signing, it will make the midfield more comfortable. The defense will not be, again, the defense will be under less pressure. Nitesh is saying, Decor is better than Partey. Ooh, you know what? That's a good shout, man. I mean, are they gonna? And what
they don't play the same position. Decor is not playing box to box. He's not playing as
Decor is somebody that I would love to come to Arsenal. I would love him to come to Arsenal.
And maybe his stats, Apollo, is based on they don't give the ball away in La Liga.
Yeah.
They're not turning the ball over as much as we do in the field.
For real. Brownie
said, you go to against Barcelona, you're not getting the ball.
Okay, so Brownie's actually made a video. So if you guys want to check out his channel as well, he's saying need to check out my video. Party dealers collapse. Arsenal can't pay the release. Okay, up front. Yeah, which is again, we talked about the transfer budget for Arsenal and whether they're going to use that to pay the deficit. That they, everyone's hearing Stan saying, I'm going to come in with some money. Yeah, what money? And when are you going to come in? Right now, if you ain't putting pen to paper, then don't talk to us about you're going to do something to help the team. Aaron. Well, yeah, I mean, that's it, Aaron, man. I mean, we have to go with what we can at the moment. Carlitos, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, bro. Has it been confirmed? No, it's not been confirmed. I've sent a couple of texts out to football agents and I've not had any confirmation on it whatsoever.
The transfer window isn't even open, so how can anybody?
Well, what it is, Tony, is I said it's a release clause. So if a player has a release clause, a team has a right to prop that release clause. So that's really what it's about. If the player, in terms of the release clause, can seek a personal deal if he's willing to move. At the moment, though, if that's not happening, then it's a non-starter. You're completely right. James, again, yeah, we just said it's not been confirmed, so we have to go with what we know at the moment. Nitesh is saying we could pay 30 million for Max Aarons. Do we really expect Arsenal to pay? I mean, Arsenal would pay 43 million for Partey if they know that he's available. If he wants to come to the club, it's definitely a deal that they will pull the trigger on. There's no doubt about that. Arsenal fan reviews, big shout out to you as well. Ebony, is this a non-starter, Ebony? Is this something that we can just say, look, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then it doesn't?
Well, you know me already, I'm at arsenal.com. But if it's a case of, bringing in Partey, then what happens to Torreira? Xhaka can go. I mean, Xhaka's just a waste of space as far as I'm concerned. But sorry, but he is. I know there's a lot of fanboys and girls out there. But the problem is that if you do bring in a CDM, which Partey is, then does that mean that Torreira goes? Because we've been hearing rumours all summer long about him wanting to leave. I don't know how true that is. But again, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we do need. I say we need backup.
Yeah, we need a starter.
We've only got the one. So is he a starter for me? I'd like to see him start based on what I've seen of him playing in Spain. But you know what Arsenal fans are like. If he doesn't hit the ground running, then Arsenal fans will screw. That's how Arsenal fans are. As far as I'm concerned, the Spanish league is lighter than the Premier League. The Premier League is physical. He looks physical. He plays physical. So, but it's a different kettle of fish altogether. The La Liga. So yeah, I'd start him, but what I'd like to see him start. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to see him play a couple of friendly games first, so that to watch how he moves the ball, how he moves around, how much physicality he can take.
Okay, so guys, listen. Where are we? Is that whose mic is that? Hold on a second.
He plays in the Champions League. That's enough for me.
Yeah, for real,
he plays
Tommy.
in the best league in the world. Let's not fool ourselves. He plays in the best league in the world, and he's outstanding. You know, none of them other two players that you comparing him to play in the Champions League. That's the league.
So is that a deal or no deal for you, Tony?
Easy deal, brother. Easy deal. That brother is a starter. He walks into the first 11. Everybody else has got to try and find a space around him. Yeah. He's the closest we'll have got to a Patrick Vieira or a Gilberto Silva in a long time.
Yeah, for real. Listen, I was about to shout out my brother, Arsenal Fan Reviews. He's one sub away from getting 1,100, and boy, I know how that feels, bro. And James has just gone and subbed him. So listen, bringing communities together. That's what we do here at 101. And listen, guys, remember, although we have the YouTube channel on 101, we're on Arsenal #101 on Facebook. So there's 4,000 of us there. Come and join us. Holy per laughs, holy per banter. But listen, bring your A game, because man will snuff you out in a heartbeat if you ain't ready. Yeah? If you ain't a true gunner, man will send you home with your tail between your legs on 101. And listen, what's up, man? What's up, Miguel? Thanks for all the support on the channel. You've been fantastic this week, mate. And Arsenal Fan Reviews are saying brilliant, fantastic, and well done. So listen, so that's the party. What we want to move on now is talk about the Charlton game. So, guys, Arsenal won 6-0. It was behind closed doors. Eddie Nketiah scored a second-half hat-trick, and we really coasted, really. It looked comfortable. We were under a bit of pressure in the first few minutes, but after the break, it was just one-way traffic. Eddie Nketiah, who you lot know is my boy, he's my Andy Cole, he's my Dwight York. But after yesterday, you know what? He might be my Eto'o. It might be my Eto'o now. I think Eto'o is where I'm looking, because I'm seeing things in his game, like his aerial game, which some of the guys don't have. He's not just, he's done it for Arsenal previously against Norwich. He's done it for the England 21. He gets up there in the box. He doesn't shoot outside the box. I noticed that a lot. He doesn't shoot too much outside the box, but he's very Jermaine Defoe in that way, where he just gets into the 6-yard line and does his dirty work. And fantastic performance from him yesterday. And I don't hear you lot sing about him. So that's frustrating for me, because he's my boy, man. And we need to find out what's going to happen with this team. If one thing is clear, if Aubameyang moves back to the middle, Lacazette and Nketiah are on the bench. If Aubameyang stays out on the left, then it's fair game in the middle. But there's a lot of things to talk about in the game. So I want to go around before I give my feedback. Bertram, what did you take from yesterday's game?
Well, we looked good against a pub team, so it wasn't that. I'm sorry, but I watched the highlights.
No. Don't be sorry. Just tell me who.
I watched the highlights of the game.
Yeah,
I watched the highlights of the game.
Stood out
and it could have been 10 or 11. They got a couple of chances. They probably should have scored. It could have been 10 or 11. I was more impressed with the goals scored by Lacazette and Aubameyang. I thought Nketiah's goal were tap-in. The Lacazette goal was world-class, but when he's on the field in the PL, where the pressure is there, I don't see the same production, right? That goal was one pass up the field, head down by Maitland-Niles, back of the net. Draw up on the board. You couldn't draw it up any better. That was excellent. Aubameyang goes with a very, very good goal. So, look, it's not a great team we played. It's a warm-up game. It's the first game back from being out for a number of months. People are trying to get their win together and get their game back together. We have City, next week?
Yeah, we're 10 days.
We may be looking like Charlton against City. So it may be reversed. Even though I think we'll show a good showing, I get the sense that people are playing for Arteta, and they're playing with the same sense of vigor, and they're putting the energy out, and they're tactically much more aware. So hopefully that would translate the game against City. But City's a different kettle of fish, right? The one thing I realized, though, is that I think that we were training while under lockdown. If you look at people like Lacazette and Torreira and all of them, I think they were doing their own personal, maybe not running as much, but they were in the gym, whether it's personal home gym or not, doing the necessary work. So they probably come back in decent shape, more than people think that they would be. And that's a good sign, actually, that people are really, they probably were given programs, frankly, by Arteta. I'm sure probably had a fitness coach giving them programs they need to work on and work on certain aspects of their body. So it's good to see the outcome that it was. It's good to see the camaraderie there. And I know you're getting excited about Nketiah, but I'm always thinking, if you're a bench that leads, and I've seen you play quite a bit, you're not Eto'o. You're really hitting this legacy of Eto'o. Apollo, do you know Eto'o was? Eto'o was the god on the field. African Footballer of the Year, score from any angle, speed to kill, tight circle. Come on, don't Nketiah, you aspire to do something, but don't go with Eto'o. Use somebody else.
Bro, come
on.
Don't play the boy down like that. He's just turned 20 years old, and he's my dream for the next Arsenal fox in the box, and he's got the potential. And I like I said, I've always talked about him being my Dwight York, Andy Cole. He is nobody yet because he hasn't had the opportunity to be anybody yet. He started our last 3 of our last 4 games in the Premier League against Everton, Newcastle, and West Ham. He came on at sub against Burnley and still looked good. He scored 2 goals, hit the bar twice. He's doing everything you need him to do. So why he's not getting the support from the fan base? And I'm not saying everybody, it's not generalizing. It's strange why people are not behind this guy in the way that we should be. You know, this guy's got the capability and the goods. He's proven it. Yeah, he's proved it. For me, we should
think about this, Paulo. So Sterling, Rashford, Sancho, they're kids who come along who are first team material and you see it right away. And Nketiah has ability. We're not saying he doesn't, but he's not at that level. And he may get there, but he's not at that level. If you look at those kids we're talking about that I just mentioned, you could see right away. Look at Sterling, how young he was, 17? Sancho, he left Man City, go to Dortmund at 17, 18. They're first team players. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think
Nketiah has a potential, but I don't see him at that level as those kids.
Yeah, bro, as I said to you, in the 4 games he's played, he's already proven he's a first team player. So what more do you want to see from him? If you play him, Bertram, you know what? He'll continue to work hard and win the ball back for the midfield. He'll continue to score goals. He'll continue to get poachers goals. He'll continue to do it. He's not just gonna, he isn't the type. In my opinion, he's someone who's gonna wreck shop for you. And Arteta knows that. If he didn't, guess what? He would have let him go to Bristol City in January.
Here's my last point on this. Arsenal doesn't have time to wait on youngsters.
Yeah.
So Man City has ready-made players. Chelsea has a combination, but it's buying ready-made players and difference makers. Liverpool already have their ready-made players. You're trying to compete for top 4, right? Man U will get there with Pogba coming back, with Fernandes in the team, with Rashford back, and go buy Sancho next year. We're talking about difference makers. We don't have those difference makers. So we can't wait on the Nelsons and the Willock and Nketiah to come through, because Arteta doesn't have time to have a job. If he doesn't make top 4, he's gone in 2 years.
Yeah, but
Arteta make top 4 in 2 years, he's gone.
But Arteta doesn't have money either.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying that the fact that we're saying bring the youngsters through, we all agree with that concept, but it's not the reality of the manager. He can't afford that because we won't be patient with him.
So, African Goon, I'm going to give you this one. Carletto saying, Maitland-Niles played in the middle. What's up with that? He played in the middle all the way through the youth system. Tony and myself used to go and watch the youth games there, and he was a very good centre midfield player. He's always complained that he doesn't like right back. Yeah, although you play where the manager tells you to play, in my opinion. Yesterday's game, Bertram, I love that Bertram mentioned Lacazette's goal, because with Lacazette's goal, what I focused on was what I've been saying to all of you guys over the last few weeks about David Luiz, how we can pick a pass out from 50 yards. He lays it 60 yards straight on the head of Maitland-Niles. And Maitland-Niles, in that centre midfield position, pushes up to support the strike force, and he heads it, nods it down to Lacazette, and then bang, straight into the back of the net. Lacazette, Maitland-Niles look good. I'm not going to lie. I've seen him play centre midfield before for the first team, and he hasn't looked hasn't looked positive. So maybe Arteta wants to have a look at him and see what he looks like there, because that midfield is going to capitulate. If Torreira wants to go back to Italy, Ceballos is going home. You're left with Xhaka and literally you're left with Guendouzi and probably Joe Willock. And Joe Willock's more of a number 10. So it's a nightmare. That midfield needs surgery badly. Let African Guna, you got the conch.
Yeah, so a couple of things, Apollo. The first thing is, as Bertram said, I mean, it was Charlton, right? I mean, yes, David Luiz made a great pass and stuff, but I mean, against any other Premier League opposition, is he going to have that much time to be able to pull off a pass like that? I'm not sure. I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just saying that's something that we need to consider, that obviously the opposition wasn't as strong. So, I mean, things like this we're able to pull off. I mean, if we all remember correctly, you know, during preseason, Arsenal always does really well. Usually, we always win 5-6-0. We have lots of hope coming into the season, and what happens? We lose the first few games of the Premier League, and then we get kind of shut down and pulled back to reality. So, on that note, Apollo, don't get too carried away. We just won 6-0. It was just Charlton. It wasn't like we beat a big team, or even we beat a Norwich or any other, I mean, a West Ham or anything like that. So, yes, it's good to see that the players are doing well. They seem to be fit. I was glad to see Kieran Tierney playing. Something that I noticed was that Matteo Guendouzi was kind of playing the Xhaka role. So whenever Kieran Tierney would go up, Guendouzi was filling in that left wing back role, which Xhaka does. So it seems as though Arteta is kind of playing around with different players and trying to see if, I guess, Guendouzi can do the same role that Xhaka does. And yeah, no, I mean, obviously Lacazette's goal was incredible. As Bertram said, can he do that in the Prem? I think in his first season he was scoring kind of goals like that, but I think we need to see more of those type of goals when we start off the season. In terms of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I mean, I don't really have much to say about him. I think that he's one of those players like Chamberlain where there isn't really a suited role for him. They're kind of like utility players because they're just so dynamic. They're able to play in many different positions, and I think it takes a long time for a coach and I think for themselves as players to really know what they want in terms of what position they'd actually like to be in. But I remember, you know, Tony and I had discussed this a while ago. When you're a player and you get put into the first team, it doesn't matter where you're playing. If the coach tells you to play somewhere, you take that opportunity and you play. That's something that every kid knows, you know, even if you're not playing at the professional level. If your coach tells you go play right back, you give 110% because that's your way in and that's your playing time, right? And in terms of Nketiah, Apollo, I mean, yeah, some good goals, some aerial goals. As Bertram said, I don't think that he's the one, and I don't think that he has the quality of Mbappe for his age. But I'll tell you this. If he's able to score 3 goals in a Premier League match, you know, in the next 3 weeks, I'll change my mind. That's the deal I have between you and I. If he's able to do what he did yesterday in a match, you know, in the next couple of weeks, I'll change my mind. But until then, I still don't think that he has it. And my last point to Apollo, between, you know, you're saying you want him to be the next fox in the box. What about Martinelli? In my opinion, I think Martinelli is better than Nketiah. So I just want to understand from your point of view why you're so hung up on Nketiah when Martinelli can do everything that Nketiah can do. He can score those headers. We've seen him score 3 headers already. He can score from long distance. He can do everything, left foot, right foot. So why are we putting so much faith in Nketiah? Yes, he has potential, but we already have Martinelli who's above him. So something maybe you should think about.
Yeah, and that, for me, I think Martinelli is a much more intelligent quality player, and I want Martinelli at the 10. I've said that, you know, on this show many times. I want him playing behind the striker, and I want him being the guy who feeds the ball. When Ozil goes, I want Martinelli in that spot. That's what I want. I want him to be the guy, the facilitator, the guy with the brains, the intelligence that makes that front three work. That's where I want Martinelli. Guys, I want to show you another thing as well about Kieran Tierney, because I did want to talk him up. I did want to bring him up. I don't know whether you guys can see this very well, but this shows Arsenal's crossing stats per 90 minutes. And it says the crosses on open play crosses, Tierney has 6.32 crosses per 90 minutes. Saka, 3.45. Bellerin, 3.03. Successful open play crosses, Tierney, 1.81. Aubameyang, 0.8. Klasnach, 0.49. Crosses including corners, successful crosses including corners. Tierney, 1.81. Pepe, 1.41, and Ozil 1.2. By statistics, and I was talking to an Arsenal coach this morning about that. He told me not to name him. Tierney is the team. The coaches think he's the best crosser of the ball on the team, although some of you were saying that when we bought him. I'll let you finish up on that before I go to Ebony, the African Gooner, because you're the one that shouted at Tierney.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for weeks, right? I mean, look, I know Bertram's smiling because I remember a couple of weeks ago he was playing me down when I was boosting up Kieran Tierney and telling you guys that he might not have the same speed as Kolasinac, but his crossing is so accurate, and he's a real professional, which is what I like about him. You know, Kolasinac can lose his head and knock out a guy if something goes wrong, but I don't see Kieran Tierney doing that, right? So I think he's a complete player, and obviously Brendan Rodgers is looking at trying to poach him, and they're talking about him leaving for 15 million. And obviously Arteta has come out and kind of, you know, stated that he's going to be a very important player for us moving forward. So yeah, I mean, I love the kid. Him and Martinelli, I want to see their combination. I think that's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, big shout out to Carletto. Carletto, I've been asking myself the same question, and I've been asking these questions even when Theo Walcott played up front as a striker and proved that he could score goals there. The fans are just don't. When it comes to British players, I don't know what it is, bro. They're just not getting the backing.
Can I address this one, Apollo? So it's nothing to do with British players. First of all, it's nothing to do with who, you know. It has nothing to do with it at all. As I mentioned to you before, for me, what it is that he scores 1 out of 3. I mean, chances, right? Maybe even 1 out of 4. That's what it is for me. Martinelli will score 3 out of 4 chances, and Nketiah will score 1 out of, you know, that's how I analyze it and say, you know,
yeah,
what
I accept that. I accept that. But I'm saying the narrative from you and Bertrand was both that you didn't think he was good enough. And Arteta does. That's why he's been playing them there. I think he's good enough. Because I believe that we should be bringing through our, as you said, Sterling, Rashford, both British players, both were given the chance. Look what's happened to Tammy Abrahams now at Chelsea. He looks like he's going on the bench. And the guy looks like the real deal, but they do need experience at that position. However, to spend 60 million on somebody, that means that Tammy Abrahams, you know, what happened to Lukaku at Chelsea is probably going to happen to him. But for me, I think we need to see. I trust in Arteta. I think I just think that Nketiah is the real deal. I've seen what he can do. I want to see him start against Man City, and I want to see heads roll when he starts banging goals in. I really do. But yeah, big shout out, Carletto, for that, man. The fans just don't believe in him, Carletto, and that's what it is at the end of the day. It's the same thing that a few of our previous players went through, and unfortunately, that's what it's like to be an Arsenal player. Ebony, you got the conch. What did you think of the Charlton game?
I watched the highlights as well, and it just felt like a training game. And that's obviously because it's played behind closed doors. It was just, you could actually hear the Charlton players saying, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Usually when you got the crowd, it's just like you're trying to lip read, but you could actually hear them actually having a few crosswords. The goals were good. You know what? Whenever I think of Eddie Nketiah, there is a reason why Arteta said, "No, you're not going to Bristol," or "No, you're not going to Leeds," or "No, you're not going anywhere," because he's that good. And I think, and yes, he's only 20 years old, but he can only get better. And you know, I mean, I hear comparisons between Martinelli and Nketiah. Look, as far as I'm concerned, they're both good. They're both assets. Whether they can play together or not, you know, that remains to be seen. But right now, I'd also say lay off Nketiah. You know, he can only get better. You know, why not start him? Why not start him against Man City? See what happens. I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You just don't know. You don't know. But
what did you think of? What did you think of Bert Leno's save in the first?
Bert Leno had a bit of work to do in the first half, and he looked as though, I mean, it was only the highlights, but he looked as though he actually could decide what to do with regards to play it long, play it short, or you know, a bit of both. I don't know, but he looked pretty good, and Charlton could have actually gone a couple of goals up in the first half, but you know, it's just Charlton. I'm not getting carried away. It's a training game. I only get carried away when it's real matches. But you know, it's a good result. It's a good start. It's a good training session. You know, they all look good. Yeah. So, but you know, Nketiah, I like him. I like him a lot. He's got potential. He can in the future become a legend. He can become greater. You know, but.
So you mentioned the stadiums. Empty stadiums are going to allow the younger players to perform without pressure. Not that there's any problems with our younger players anyway, because they're all really, really talented.
I don't. But the thing is, the thing is though, it's like every other team that you can think of in the top six, they're keeping their young players. I don't see why we don't allow them to. Well, okay, but I don't see why we don't allow them to to flourish.
Yeah. I think we might be forced into that if there's no money to spend.
Because Liverpool for the last 5 years have had one of the best under 23 and youth academies, and look at the number of players that come through from Liverpool's academy system.
Yeah,
it's not loads. Who in their first 11 has come from their academy?
Hold on, Robinson, Trent Alexander. Liverpool. You're talking about Liverpool.
1.
Yeah, Gomez.
2.
Yeah, and as I said, Robinson, Trent Alexander.
Did they buy? They bought Robinson.
Yeah, they bought Robertson.
Okay,
Yeah.
They bought him from Scotland. Yeah.
Okay, Henderson.
Yeah, they did.
Henderson.
No, they bought Henderson.
He was from Villa.
Yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
they've got tons of great players that win their league, but they don't come through. So let's stop this narrative that everybody else is flooding their team with youth players. Man City have got none.
Well, Man City have got a few. They just don't play them.
They got Phil Foden, and that's it.
Yeah, they've got a few coming through. I've spoken to their fans about that before, and they're frustrated with it because, and this was mainly at a time when they were aging, when Pep had taken over for a couple of years. We knocked him out in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and that team was just Brock. And everyone's just like, I spoke to their fans, and they were like, we got 5, 6 academy players that could be playing, they're good enough to play in that front team, but they don't want to know. They're just spending so much money on these players, and their youth ain't getting a chance to come through.
Are they winning?
So
yeah,
so guys, in terms of the empty stadium or what Ebony was talking about, for some reason I've been watching the German football, and I watched the game yesterday, and like basketball, I like hearing the trainers squeak on the court, and there's something sweet about hearing the sweet sound of boots boots hitting on a level ball, and it's just an interesting take. And you're hearing the coaches yell during the match. You can hear also who are the leaders on the team. You can hear which players are actually voicing out their opinion. And I think it's going to be enlightening for us as fans to get a piece of that. For Liverpool,
did you see what they did at Leverkusen? They piped the music in, and I was more impressed by that.
They had the cardboard cutout as fans as well.
I'm sorry. What I get from the German league and watching it and listening, when you have a training match, and there's no crowd, no one's watching your game, you just play. That's exactly what it became. Which is, it's not the same.
That's what Charlton was like.
Yeah,
that's exactly what Charlton was like. It was just, I don't. Well, I know. Well, for obvious reasons, they have to do it. But I can't wait for the fans to get back in. Well, if the fans get back in there, and
ambiance is
if
totally
they have
different.
to do
I agree, Ebony.
6 feet.
So Tony, what did you think of the game?
Okay, so it was a good training ground exercise for me. It's nice to see, especially like African Guna said, Kieran Tierney looking active up and down at left side of the pitch.
Rob Holding.
I didn't see enough of him to make a judgment, but I do want to address the issue of the Eddie Nketiah, because obviously that stirs a lot of emotion. You see him as a great fox in a box. And I just thought, listen, we've seen this year in, year out, yeah? And I'm going to take you back. Do you remember Jeremy Aladier was banging in goals, left, right, and centre in the reserves? Came to the team, started poaching 1-2 here and there, and you're like, yeah? Don't forget, he's an invincible.
I wasn't, I didn't rate him. I thought he was average.
Okay. Before that, yeah, 1999 team, Christopher Wray scored some of the most important goals we've ever seen. Yeah?
Didn't rate him.
Didn't rate him because 2 years later, we was playing Scottish League football.
Yeah, I didn't rate him.
Let me tell you something. In the season where we won at Old Trafford, Christopher Wray was a very big part of our team.
Carlos Villa, I rated him.
Sylvain Wiltord, we paid a load of money for Sylvain Wiltord, was scoring goals much like Lacazette was back in the French league, came to our team, became a second-class citizen to Thierry Henry, but again, scored a winner at Old Trafford. Arturo Lupoli and Nicholas Bentner, I think they set the goal-scoring record in the reserves.
Never rated Bentner. Yeah, never rated him. Yeah,
but they scored goals aplenty.
Yeah, but I never rated him.
With Nketiah, you have to sometimes look and go, you know what? You have to make the eye test. And I think Bertram and the African have made their eye test and said, he looks okay, but let's not go all in and say he's the next Christopher.
Oh, no, you can't say whether he is or not because he hasn't had a string of games. Let's
you know what? I could have said all these things about Jeremy Aladier. I could have said all these things about Franny Jeffers being the next Ian Wright, because when he was at Everton, he was scoring goals like they were going out of fashion. So I just think we have to calm down.
So I want to say one thing. Apollo compared Nketiah potentially to Samuel Eto'o.
Oh my!
Wait. Let me say this.
You guys,
let me finish. Let me finish.
No, you're taking it way too far.
Thierry Henry went to Barcelona and had to play out on the wing.
Oh my God!
Samuel Eto'o could not be replaced.
I can see the news headlines tomorrow. You're taking it way too far.
You did. You said Dwight York. You said Andy Cole, and you said heresy. Samuel Eto'o. You have never watched Eto'o play. Eto'o is ridiculous.
That's way too what the ball. I said some of the movement that he made in the box reminded me of Eto'o, and I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if he turned out to be a player like that? I didn't say he was Eto'o. Yeah, Eto'o is probably Eto'o is probably the best. He's probably the best African footballer of all time. Yeah, arguably the best African footballer.
He and the president of Liberia are close.
I don't like Drogba.
George Weah.
I'm an Arsenal fan, so I don't like Drogba. So you ain't getting nothing from me, bro. So listen, that's it, guys. Let's have a look now. We were talking about naming our top 3 goalkeepers of all time. Once we do this, we'll move straight over to the Premier League schedule, which is going to take us about an hour to cover off. And guys, listen, guys in the chat, I want you to tell me who your top 3 Arsenal goalkeepers of all time are. Yeah, and again, remember, guys, it's subjective. A lot of you didn't get to see some of the goalkeepers of great, some of the golden oldies, as I would say. Although I did like a few of them, I had to do an honourable mention for one of the goalkeepers in the oldies, which is Jack Kelsey. Those of you who know your Arsenal history know who Jack Kelsey is. So he's my honourable mention. But let me go around to Bertram first. And guys in the chat, please let me know who your top 3 goalies of all time are. Bertram,
so I think goalkeepers are a necessary evil. I don't spend too much time rating them or thinking about them. We just need them in the stick to prevent someone from scoring. So in no particular order, it's Lehman, Jennings, and Seaman. Jennings didn't play less for us than he played for Tottenham, but Pat Jennings was an awesome goalkeeper for years, playing for his country and playing in the old First Division. So I say Jennings, Lehman. And even though I still can't forgive Seaman for the 2002 World Cup when he let Ronaldinho score from God knows where, even I could say that. But having said that, He was a great goalkeeper for years.
Seaman had lead in his feet, man. He was brilliant. He was an amazing shot stopper, but he couldn't jump for shit, man. Seaman was a heavy dude, and I'd met him a couple of times when I used to work for a cable company. We sorted his cable out when he lived in Notting Hill Gate, but I'm not going to talk about that for now. Big shout out to you if you're listening to this, Seaman. Let African Guna, before you go on, let me bring the guys in. Carlito's like, look, I don't need no top three. Layman is my guy, and that's it. Yeah, big shout out to you. James has gone for Seaman. James again. Sorry, you've got the rest of them down there. James has gone. Where's James? There he is. He's gone for Seaman, Layman, and Jennings. Okay, fair shout. Nitesh has gone for Seaman, Layman, and Leno. Leno already. Wow. That is a big sign of respect. 18's gone for Seaman, Jennings, and Kelsey. So someone has put Kelsey in there. Boy, Jack Kelsey is the truth, man. I'm not going to lie. Aaron's gone for Jennings, Layman, and Seaman. So it's kind of the same three guys from everyone, just in different positions. African Guna, who's your three?
Yeah, in no particular order, Layman, Seaman, and I saw Tony shake his head when Nitish said
Tony
Leno,
shakes his head all the time when it comes to Tony.
This is of all time, and in my all-time life, I haven't seen Jennings, so I can't put him in mine. So mine has to be Leno from my lifetime. It has to be Leno. I can't put Chesney there, can I?
Hey, there's one person you can put in. Aaron's just giving you a quick teaser.
No.
Oh God.
That's my three.
Peter Cech has won an FA Cup. What has Leno won?
Man, we still have time. I still think he's a better keeper. I think we got Cech. If we got Cech earlier in this,
are you mad?
Essentially,
are you
but
mad?
I think we got it way too late.
Are you mad?
I love the way Tony does.
Yeah.
I love the way Tony does backflips when we do our all times, man. Brilliant. Ebony, before you go on, Kez, nice to hear from you, Kez, man. Kez is saying only because of history, Seaman, Layman, Jennings. Yeah, a lot of people are still going for that top three. No John Lukage yet. We haven't seen John Lukage. Steve, nice to see you, mate. Seaman, Layman, and Manninger.
Manninger, please.
Yes. Yes. All right, okay, Ebony.
Must be a relative.
must be his uncle. Right, in no particular order. Bob Wilson. Bob Wilson. You cannot dismiss Bob Wilson. All right. David Seaman and Pat Jennings. Those are my three. Obviously, I wasn't alive when
Jack Kelsey.
No. When Wilson was in goal, but I've seen clips of him and he was heroic. David Seaman, I mean, the guy was safe hands. I mean, one of my favorite saves from him was in the FA Cup final. Was it the FA Cup? Yeah, the FA Cup final against Southampton.
Oh, the save! The save!
That figure save. Yeah. Pat Jennings, you know, yes, he did play for them down the road, but he was magnificent for us. So yeah, but those are my three.
Excellent. So we've got no one's mentioned Chesney, although he's gone and it doesn't really matter. Meninga gets in there before Chesney, though. That's the killer. And listen, Malia Munia. Almunia. I'm killing myself.
Who said that?
No, nobody. I'm just waiting for the name to come up because I know some of these guys.
Just before Tony
do you remember that time when remember that time when Almunia ran out of his box? It was against Man United. He ran out of his box, and I don't know what he was doing, but he decided to go on a mad one, and Man United scored because he was too late back to the goal. He's rubbish, man. Hell no.
Yeah, and just before Tony goes, and everyone's saying Chesney, don't forget that Chesney let in 8 goals to United, and he made that mistake in the League Cup final when we were dying to win a trophy in like years, and he messed it up in the 90th minute.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not Chesney's fault against Man U when we lost like 8-3.
Man,
Chesney could not save
Chesney's
any of those
garbage.
goals. That's not Chesney's
I
fault.
remember that. 2012,
Chesney's garbage.
2011 actually.
Okay, guys. So we got Cool Case going with Seaman Almunia. You idiot! You
Are you
had to
having a
go for
laugh?
it, mate. You had to pull the trigger. Me and you are gonna have words. I knew somebody had to get in there. I wish I didn't mention it now. It wouldn't have been done. Tony, you got the conch, man.
All right. I think it's quite clear. Seaman, Layman, Jennings, but I have to go. You know what? I'm surprised with you, Apollo, that you didn't do your research, because there was a guy back in the 30s when Arsenal did the double named Frank Moss, who was an Arsenal legend.
Yeah,
Frank
he wasn't as good as Kelsey though.
No, but he was still up there. He's still got to give. Listen, if you win a double with a team, you got to be given respect.
Yeah, rightly so. Big respect, Tony.
Bruv, it's not good enough to come on here and say he wasn't in my generation. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not good enough. This is your team. Go do your research.
Yeah, Tony's right. You're bang on, Tony. You're bang on, mate.
Team. You can't.
Man,
African Guna doesn't do history. He's perspective.
It'd be like saying,
he looks forward. He's not doing history.
It'd be like saying my son is 7 years old. He's too young to have ever seen Thierry Henry play, but he knows who's the GOAT.
Yeah, that's fine, because that's what 20 years, 80 years ago.
You can't live with that.
Even 10, 20 years, that's fine, but you can't be expecting people or millennials to be looking at goalkeepers in the 1930s. Man, honestly, I don't give a crap about our goalkeeper in the 1930s.
Yeah,
no, I don't disagree with 30s, but I think from 80s onwards, you should have some idea.
How did you miss out Patrick Vieira because you didn't do your history? I'm sorry, Clark, you can't get away with that one.
No, guys.
If they're still living, you should know them.
No, guys. At the end of the day, you have to understand that we think differently in our generation to the younger generation as well. I speak to a ton of fans, same age as La African Guna, and they are into what is going on right now, and they're not interested in, because of it's different. Football's a different game than it was now. Back in the day, and we all don't think the same. So I totally get it, like African Guna. Believe me, I talked to her.
Football is not a different game. Football is not a different game. It's the same game.
I agree, but Tony, your
which is why ultimately we can always say Pele is the greatest striker of all time. It's the same game. The game hasn't changed. You still have to put the ball in the net more times than the other team. It hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't, Tony, but it has changed for the generation. We're not the same as them, mate. Trust me. And I remember I talk to these fans talk to me all the time. I get stopped outside the Emirates and they say, "Who do you think is the best?" Blah blah blah. And when I tell them, they like, "Who's Liam Brady?" It's just the way how it is, man. Anyway, guys, we got Jonathan. Jonathan's coming in here. Big shout out to you, Jonathan. Jonathan's gone. Lukage, finally, somebody mentions Lukage. Thank you, Jonathan.
He's on my honorary list. Lukage.
Big shout out, Jonathan, and he'll consider it as well. Liam, we're doing the top 3 goalkeepers in history. So if you'd like to send us yours, then that would be great, mate. Mine is again Jack Kelsey, and again history lesson time with Apollo from 101. He's the only goalkeeper that spanned 3 decades, and he was one of the first goalkeepers to rush out of his penalty box to halt attackers. In those days, keepers weren't doing it. Keepers were planted on their line, and that's where they stayed. He revolutionized the position by going out and doing that in the days before goalkeepers never wore gloves. And guys, he laid the template out for goalkeepers in the future, as Pat Jennings did, and I'll come on to Pat Jennings later on. My number 3 is Jens Lehmann, just for the sake of if any goalkeeper goes through an entire season unbeaten, you've got to give him props. And Jens Lehmann is my number 3 for that. I don't need to say no more about that. The best save I've seen of all time is still it's still that save against Real Madrid. I put Gordon Banks' save in the World Cup against Pele as one of the top saves, but that save from Jens Lehmann against Real Madrid is my favorite save of all time. I just don't, up to this day, I watch repeats on it and I still don't know how we stopped that ball from going in the net. Listen, he actually came back to Arsenal as well, and I know he's completing his coaching qualifications there. But Jens Lehmann, yeah, big shout out. And my number 2 is David Seaman. Served the Gunners for 13 years, showed the reflexes of the FA Cup game that Ebony talked about, and is definitely one of probably the greatest shot stopper as well. But he just had lead feet. He couldn't jump more than 6 inches off the ground. How many times did you see him get lobbed? Remember the Galatasaray game? He just had lead feet, and he was a heavy goalkeeper, and that's what he kind of had against him. He didn't have that athleticism in the way of Jens Lehmann or the next goalkeeper, who's my number 1, Pat Jennings. Pat Jennings is my all-time favorite Arsenal goalkeeper. This is when I was a young kid growing up in the 70s, watching football like crazy, and the fact that he played, hear this, yeah, he played for Spurs first, and he went to Arsenal in the latter part of his career. And everybody thought when he came in, he's just coming here to finish his career. You know, he's bang out. He ain't going to do nothing. He went on to play 327 matches for the Gunners, 3 FA Cup finals, and his bravery and athleticism, the style of goalkeeper. You know, his style, we talk about bringing things into football. Pat Jennings was one of the first goalkeepers who used his body to stop shots, yeah? Goalkeepers notoriously never did that. They use their hands to save. You look back at footage, and the first goalkeeper to use his body and his feet to block shots, that was him. That was Pat Jennings. That's why he's renowned for being one of the best of all time. So that's my 3 guys.
You mentioned that Kelsey was the only one to play for 3 decades. You mean for Arsenal, I assume?
Yes.
So Jennings played for 3 decades, from the 60s to the 80s. So
yeah, but not for Arsenal.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Liam has gone for Jennings, Kelsey, and Seaman. Again, big shout out, big respect to Jack Kelsey, man. Seriously, Jack Kelsey. These are guys who revolutionized. Yeah, Jennings and Kelsey. They revolutionized the games. They were doing things that goalkeepers at their time weren't doing. Running outside the box to stop strikers. Saving shots with your feet and your chest and your body and everything else. Kez is saying, sorry, my message got short. Arsenal's history is worth noting for any fan, but when you speak on players, more times than most, it will be the ones you've seen play. Yeah, and that's the thing, I totally 100% get African Guna, because I speak to a lot of fans, and that's what I get. Even when there's some fans that didn't even watch Ian Wright play. You know, it's just like, you know, didn't you see Ian Wright? It's crazy. You know, when I say to them who Viv Anderson is, they're like, who? You know, it's just how it is, man. It's just how it is. So, guys, thanks for that. We're going to go into our predictions now. So let me just cover this off for a bit. Now, I've had to redo mine, because I did mine with Dan the other day when I was on Sonny's podcast, and I only came up with 2 wins, and it's quite embarrassing from my standpoint. So I think I'm going to try a little harder now. I'm going to try a little harder to see if I can break a mold with you guys and see if we can get back on some kind of positivity of our remaining schedule, because we have to think again that this isn't a continuation, but this is more like a new season for us, because this is the longest break the players have ever had in their careers. So we're going to start off with the first game, Manchester City versus Arsenal. And guys in the chat, I want to hear what your predictions are for all of these games. My man is not even messing around. My man Liam is going 8-0, job done. Let's pack it up and go home, and let's bring the Champions League to the Emirates next season. Guys, listen, Bertram, let's start with you first.
I think Liam mixed the names up. He's thinking Charlton. Was 6. I say City 3-1.
City 3-1. Let African Guna.
Damn, this is hard. I want Arsenal to win, but I think I'm going to be optimistic and go for a 3-3 draw first game of the Premier League, and commentators are saying, this is what we've been missing, just a goal scoring fest. 3-3.
3-3. Okay, that's decent. We've got, look, he's having a laugh with us now. He's gone 4-2 to City, so that's everyone's going City now, man. Kirk, big shout out to you, Kirk. Oh, Kirk's gone 3-1 to Arsenal. Okay. James is going, I feel this is the right time to play City, so 3-0 to Arsenal. And Nitesh is going 3-1 to City. 18's going 2-0 to City. Liam, where's your score there? Where's your score, Liam? Kez is going 2-1 to Arsenal. Celestine saying 3-2 to Arsenal. That's a decent score. Ebony, what are you going with on this one?
I like to be optimistic. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to say 2-1 to Arsenal.
Ooh, okay.
I want some. I'm trying to be optimistic. I think there has to be a surprise somewhere. Who beat Man City? Wolves.
Norwich.
They beat them. Norwich beat them. I think Newcastle beat them as well. So I reckon that they're in for a surprise, and I reckon that it will be down to Arteta. That surprise. So I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, that's a good shout. You're making me want to change my mind. Kuke is going 2-0 to City. James is backing you there, man. James is backing you big time. So Kez is saying Arteta won't want to lose this game no matter what. Yeah, he's got a lot to prove. He's going to make them guys. Could you imagine if we lose that game, Arteta's face, knowing that he hasn't lost in the last 8 games, to go to City and lose? That would cripple him, man. Tony. I think Tony's got his son there as well.
Yeah,
Tony.
I have. Guys, I admire your optimism. I never ever like to think against my team, but I'm gonna give you a little uncomfortable truth. We have an option to play 5 substitutes. Man City have such a dynamic squad and bench that imagine you got Gabriel De Jesus on the bench, you got Leroy Sané on the bench, you got Riyad Mahrez on the bench. Yeah?
Oh my God.
My guys, I love my team. Yeah, I love my team, but I'm afraid when they pull on 4-5 substitutes with fresh legs. Yeah, they're going to be raining down on us something else. But yeah, I'm all for this being a learning experience. I believe in Mikel Arteta long term, but I'm also a realist. So if we get away with a draw, I will be happy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. If I mean what you're saying, Nitesh, Gabriel Jesus is a liability. But let's go. They've got bare strikers. Bare
midfielders, bare defenders, bare everything, bro.
Yeah. Because listen,
Top 5 teams.
Said it. One of their best players isn't even getting played, and that's Leroy Sané. But guess what? He suddenly is available. I've seen them training. I am afraid for Arsenal if Leroy Sané comes on in the 60th minute and starts running at the pace this kid's got, because he's explosive, like a son of a gun. Yeah.
So I think I've watched the wrong teams over the years, because all these Arsenal fans predicting Arsenal win. When have we come close to City on the field? Forget about winning. Apart from we beat them 2-1 in Man City in their home when we had Cazorla playing, when have we come even close? First of all, it's like playing 10 against 8. That's how we play against them. But we have no midfield. They dominate the midfield. They have better wingers. We only have one player who has an opportunity to get into their first 15. Forget about the first 11. Aubameyang is the only player on our team, their entire squad, was a chance to get into their first 15. And we're saying we're going to confidently beat them 3-0 and 3-1.
I think that's because Arteta. That's the Arteta factor. Because
Wow, he's playing. I didn't realize he was playing. You know, he wasn't even that good enough to play. He wasn't being that good enough to change. If that be Cazorla, yes, maybe. But Arteta.
Well, the last time,
pass, it wouldn't work.
The last time Arteta game planned to play Manchester City for Arsenal, we won 2-0.
Man, that was so long ago. Come on.
We had Cazorla pulling the strings. What are you talking about? We had Cazorla pulling the strings.
Yeah,
we had some in the middle of the park was pulling the strings for the entire game. And you know what it was? It was we played defensively and almost played counter-attacking football. We didn't dominate going forward with the ball. They dominated the ball.
We won the game.
Smart football.
And we won it because Arteta went away from Wenger's tactics. He called the players meeting.
Yeah, but then we had better players. Have you seen us play? We won. We keep saying Arteta is undefeated. How many games have we won with Arteta?
we had won 2 games in our last 17 before he walked through the door.
More than he has won to date, and he's halfway there. He hasn't won 2 games.
He has won 2 games. He has.
Which 2 games has he won?
He beat in
the PL.
Yeah, he beat Bournemouth, and he's beaten what is it? West Ham, Newcastle 4-0. You know, we've won.
I thought it was a 5-2.
We beat Man United at the Emirates 2-0. Come on, give him some more credit, man.
No, I think he hasn't had 3 wins. Come on, let's go back to the record.
I just named the 3 wins: Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Man United.
If he had 3 wins, we'd have like 12, 13 points from his 8-9 games. Because he only has 1 loss. So let's add this up. He has 1 loss. He has 3 wins. Therefore, he has 4 draws.
Yeah,
so 3 wins, 9 for 13. He hasn't had 13 points. We're confusing the numbers.
No, but bro, he's tried to fix what was a team going down into relegation.
Don't disagree.
Yeah.
Don't disagree.
All right, guys, we got loads. We got a lot of games to get in. So I'm saying 2-2 on that one. Yeah. So we're gonna move to Brighton. So Brighton, and that's because I'll take a draw. I'll take a draw from it all day long. Yeah. Guys, Brighton, Bertram, you've got this. Guys in the chat, let me know what's your prediction on the Brighton game. This is away from home. Not that it's going to mean anything because the stadium's going to be bang empty anyway. But what's your prediction on the Brighton? Let's hear your scores coming in, guys, in the chat. And guys, remember, Super Chat is open. Any donations you guys want to make towards the channel would be great. Looking to take this up a notch because I want to stream to Facebook as well. There's streaming on YouTube. So remember, guys, anything that you have for the channel would be greatly appreciated. Bertram, what's your thoughts on the Brighton game? And guys, let's hear your predictions.
I'm going to predict that we're going to win 3-1 away from home against Brighton. I think we have our full squad. They're in decent shape. We have at least 2 people at these positions. So if he picks the right team and substitute a lot like Tony's talking about in terms of we have 5 substitutes, then I think we should be able to beat Brighton away from home. Even though we're not great away from home, but I do expect us to win.
Excellent. So we've got, what have we got here? We've got James with 2-1 to Arsenal. I can't predict yet. It's Brighton, Aaron, man. Aaron, it's Brighton. Stephen's gone for 3-1 Arsenal win. Kez is, he's gone Arsenal 3-0. Lee has gone 4-1 to Arsenal. Arsenal look like dominating this game. It don't look like they're going to lose right now. 1-0 Kirk. Kirk has gone 1-0 to Arsenal. 18's gone 4-0 to Arsenal. Jonathan's gone 3-0 to Arsenal. Le African Guna, what are you saying?
Same as Bertram, 3-1, and not a comfortable 3-1. One of those games that are on edge, and then I think in the last 20 minutes we tire them out, and the quality shines through hopefully, and Pepe scores the 3rd goal. That's my prediction.
Pepe with the set piece, man. Any more scores we've got coming through? Still the 3-0 from Jonathan. Ebony.
I think it will be a very tough, hard-fought 2-0 to us.
Yeah.
I think Brighton will have a couple of good chances because they always do every time we turn up anyway. And they're actually quite good at home. But I think it'll be a very hard-fought 2-0. I can see it. I can see us slipping up in the sense that we'll give them space, but then we'll recover.
Yeah, we're not. We haven't got a great away record, but it's been vastly improved under Arteta. Vincey, nice to see you in the chat, Vincey. Big shout out to you, my friend. Vincey's gone 2-1. I don't know who that is. I don't know who is the 2. Obviously, the 2 is in front of the 1, so that's the home team. So I'm taking it that's a Brighton 2-1 win. Is that right, Vincey? Correct me on that if you can. I've gone. Kuke's gone Arsenal 2-0. Celestine's gone Arsenal 3-0. Tony.
Okay, so I'm very simple now because Man City is a baptism of fire, but everything after Man City is work is a win. I don't see us. I don't see us losing another game. I don't see us losing another game. Who else is good? Who else have we got? Have we got to play Liverpool?
Yeah.
I'll even pick us to beat Liverpool because I think Arteta will find a way.
Wow, Leicester, Wolves, Spurs.
Yeah, we beat them all. We'll beat them all. Listen.
And you were laughing at us earlier, and you're coming out here saying this crap. Come on.
Hang on. Wait. All of you who picked us to beat Man City in the first game against all that firepower, how can you turn around and say we're going to lose to any other team? Are you mad? Man City
I did
3-3.
I said 3-3. I said 3-3, but I see where you're coming from.
Hang on. But think about what you just said. The most dangerous team in the Premier League when it comes to size of squad. Even Liverpool haven't got a size of squad as Man City. Yeah? You think we can get a draw against that team? So if you think we can get a draw against that team, no other team is going to be as difficult as Man City. You're mad.
Liverpool.
Bro, we're not beating Liverpool, Tony, man.
Not only are you guys drinking, but you're drinking white rum. You're not just drinking anything. You're drinking the strong stuff.
Let me tell you about Liverpool. They've got an amazing 11, 12 players. But if you go and run them deep in their squad, yeah, you're gonna find they're not as good as the first 11. Whereas Man City have got 5, 6, 7, 8 players on the bench who are bad boys. They got legends on their bench.
I agree.
Bernardo Silva. They got legends on their.
Nah, I think you're underestimating Liverpool. I think Liverpool has gotten other players back. So the Keylors, the Oxlade-Chamberlain, the Shaqiris, they're all coming back. Shaqiri, they're a good player. Shaqiri's a very good player. Shaqiri's a very good player.
Milner.
They have good players.
Did you say Adam Lallana? Are you mad?
Lallana's rubbish.
Leroy Sané.
No, we're not saying Lallana. We're saying Shaqiri. We're saying Oxlade-Chamberlain. The Ox is playing. Yes, he's playing well. He's England's best midfielder. He's England's best midfielder.
I'm loving the banter here right now.
If anybody is drinking white rum here, it's got to be you, brother. Because
I don't drink at all. I only drink water. See, it's all water.
Oxlade-Chamberlain is a nice player, but he's not a killer.
All right, guys.
Riyad Mahrez, the Premier League Player of the Year, is on their bench.
Tony, I know this. I said the same thing you said, Tony. My point is, you underestimating Liverpool. They're not just an 11-man team. They have a decent squad, and they have decent players on the bench.
All right, guys. We got to move on because we got eight games to get through. We're going to be here all night if we don't move.
Okay, so let me just finish. Okay, Liverpool will be a squeeze. Yeah, I personally believe that given the
bro, we're not on Liverpool yet. We're on Brighton.
Okay. But this is my point. If you had us drawing against Man City, the most dynamic 24 players of any squad in the Premier League, you can't have us losing to any Brighton and Aston Villa and Wolves and all that shenanigans. I'm sorry.
So what's your prediction, Tony? Brighton
wins. All of them wins.
Wow. Okay. So you're going for what? 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0.
I agree with Tony about the thought process, which is I'm not sure you pick to win away at Man City or drawing, and then saying we're going to lose when we are back in training, have played our first game on our belt to all lesser teams. That's what I'm saying. Revisit that, which is I don't see how in heck we're going to beat Man City or draw with them away from home.
We're not going to beat Wolves, mate. We can't even beat Wolves.
They destroyed us at their own place. Last time we played them when they beat us 3-1, They destroyed us. It wasn't even close.
All right, guys, listen, big shout out to Kez. Kez, thanks for the super chat. That's another $5 in the kitty. I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that wholeheartedly. And I'm only going for a 1-0 here because of the way how we've performed away from home. I think we're going to sneak this one. I believe in the past I went for a draw on this when I was on Sunnies. So this is the one that I've kind of overturned.
Can I ask a question? Who's Brighton's striker?
Who's the striker?
It starts with the M. It starts with the M. The tall guy who always scores.
See? And who's Arsenal's striker?
Well, we don't know that yet because
who's
you guys,
number one striker?
You guys, well, it's supposed to.
Yes,
number one
Glenn
striker.
Murray.
Samuel Eto'o.
Yeah, Eto'o. All right, guys. Southampton's going to be on the 23rd of June, and that's going to be away from home. We never ever win there. So I want to hear what you guys are going to say on this. Let's hear your. What is Tony's on some serious booze right now? Let's start with Tony. Let's also hear you guys in the there is Glenn Murray. Let's also hear you guys in the chat room. What are you going for at Southampton versus Arsenal? Tony, you kick it off.
Please let me start. Okay. So all these teams, right, that you're saying we're going to struggle up against, you've got to come up against Glenn Murray. And then you've got to go to Southampton and face who? Sorry, we've got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Golden Boot winner. Yeah, the man scores for fun. Yeah.
I was just going to say one thing to Tony, that we also have a defense of Mustafi and David Luiz.
Yeah,
we're thinking about one side of the field. We're thinking about one end of the field. There's two sides to the field. It's not.
And a midfield.
It's not offensive. It's not an offensive game. It's both ways.
I'm a glass half full kind of guy. You may not have realised it, but I'm a glass half full kind of guy. And my view is your best form of defense is attack. And that's all we got to do. Attack. Yeah. I remember, listen, we used to play with Luzny, Stepanovs, Tavlaridis, and all them, and we still won games. Yeah. So let's not knock it. All right, our defense is not the greatest. I'm not saying we're impenetrable. I don't say we're not going to let a goal in every game, but we have got a potent front five. Potent.
Yeah, I did watch the game against Charlton, the highlights, and they could have scored two. They could have scored quite a bit of goals against that. That defense leaks. It's still leaking.
I expect them to. But I also expect us to score a shed load of goals coming forward because we now have 5 substitutes. Imagine you're 1-0 down and you need a goal. Think about who you could play. You could play Saka, Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe, Ozil, Martinelli, Nelson. You're telling me that isn't goals there?
Okay, guys, we got to remember when Aubameyang. What did we have when we lost 3-2 up there? When we had Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan, and Iwobi up front. Oh God. Liechtensteiner was awful in that game. Anyway, we lost when we had I think Danny Ings just killed us. He kills us every time he plays us. I think he got 2 goals that game.
Danny Ings.
Yeah, he got 2 goals that game. It just destroys us when we play them up there. We're going for. Where are we? God, the predictions are coming in. James has gone for 1-1. Kez is saying Tony's right. Liverpool don't. Yeah, that's on the Liverpool. I think Vince is going for 3-2 Arsenal. That's 3-2 Arsenal. Lee's gone for 3-2 Arsenal as well. Kirk has gone for 2-2. Yeah, there Brighton and this one. No, we want. Yeah, Nitesh has gone. Danny Ings will mess our defense up. Yes, I totally agree because he's done that all the time. We go down there. 18, we lose 3-1 in that game. Jonathan's gone, we win 2-1. We want to run at this stage. Ings will be injured. I bet many of these lower league teams will struggle playing twice a week. Because that's the point Tony was making about the substitutions and the lack of squads. Okay, yeah. So that might make me turn a loss into a draw there.
Amen.
Bertram,
Amen.
did you give a prediction there?
No, I think we'll win 3-1, actually. Danny Ings is a threat. I don't know why Tony's denigrating Danny Ings. Danny Ings is a good forward.
Yeah.
Been injured for a couple of years with ACL injuries for Liverpool. But I see him play for Southampton quite a bit, and he scores goals. He's a very good forward. He's a complete forward. He's not just only can score goals.
Would you have him, Bertram? Would you have him?
Yes. He's better than Nketiah. He's better than Nketiah.
What?
He's better than him. Right now in their career, he's a better player.
That's not even a question. That's not even a
point in their
question.
career, he's a better player.
That's not even a question. Nketiah has not even played 5 games yet. And
I'm just saying, at this point in their career, he's a better player. Maybe 28, 29, but he's better.
You see how clever Bertram is, right? I ask him an honest question, right? And he goes and picks the weakest fruit off the bunch, yeah? The weakest fruit.
He starts for us.
Danny Ings.
He's our center forward. He starts for us.
Are you having a laugh?
Okay, guys, let's move on because we got to move on because we're only on the 3rd game and we've got 10 to do, so we've got 7 more to go. La African Guna, Kuke's gone 2-0 Saints. That's another win for the Saints. La African Guna, what are you going for?
I've been waiting for my turn because I need to address some things that Tony said. So yes, Tony, first of all, I'm saying a 3-3 draw because I'm being optimistic. And honestly, I don't think that we're going to beat Man City. I do think we're going to lose. But I don't want to go into the first game saying that we're going to lose 3 or 4-0. So I 100% agree with you. I think Man City is going to give us a slapping. I want to go in positive, and that's why I went for a draw. Secondly, I do think that we're going to beat every other team that is lesser than us. But when it comes to teams like Wolves, Leicester, Tottenham, and Liverpool, those 4 I'm iffy about because those are big guns. And usually against big guns, Arsenal, against any team, Arsenal's up and down. But specifically against the bigger ones, there's higher chance that we will, succumb under pressure as usual and lose to those teams. So I do agree with you. I think we're going to beat all the lesser teams, but against the teams that are competing with us for top 5, top 6, it's a 50-50 for me. So yeah, I do think we're going to beat Southampton 2-1. And yes, Danny Ings has taught us a lot of lessons. Don't shit talk him because he's going to come back and slap us, and then we're going to come to
just like
so guys. I want to make a call. So top scores in the PL: Jamie Vardy 19, Aubameyang 17, Salah 16, Aguero 16, Danny Ings 15. 15 PL goals in 2019-2020. I'm sorry, but that's a lot of goals. How much is Lacazette scored? Okay.
7.
I rest. Defense rest.
So guys, so the African Guna, what's your score?
2-1. 2-1 to Arsenal.
Okay, Ebony, what's your
a very dirty 1-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah, so I've gone Southampton's going to win that one 2-1. History tells me that that's going to happen, so I got to go with them. Just being real. Sheffield United. Shall we leave the FA Cup Sheffield United game because that's not? That's a quarterfinals, but it doesn't really define our season in terms of the league. So we're going to skip that one. Arsenal at home to Norwich. Thankfully, I had this down as a clear-cut win. Tony, you want to go first again on this one? How much are we going to win by, Tony?
5.
Nah. Yeah.
Norwich.
I agree.
3, yeah. 3 is fair. 3 is fair. And just for Apollo, Nketiah will score in this game. This is the type of game for him when we play a lesser team and he can start and he can score your poaching goal.
Dear, what is happening to my panel tonight?
2-0 at half time, and then we go in at half time and we change the whole front 5 and we just kill them because the speed kills.
Okay, well, this team at home beat Man City, but
Fluke once off.
Yeah, well, let's hope it doesn't. Anyway, I've gone for a win here, so let's see what these guys are saying. Wow, okay, 18's falling right into Tony's lap. 5-0 from 18, 4-0 Aubameyang hat-trick from James, 5-1 from Vincey. Kurt banging it out with 3-0. Bertram, what's the score on this one?
3-0.
3-0 again. La African Guna?
3-0, yeah, 3-0. 5 is in La La Land. I mean, I would love to see 5 goals, but 3 is fair and realistic.
Well, they put 4 goals past Newcastle.
True. You never know. You never know.
So did we, actually.
Literally. We've got some more. We've got Lee with 3-1 to Arsenal. Arsenal are at home, bro. So it's got to be the other way around. With 3-1 to Arsenal. Jonathan, Norwich play open and wide into the hands, 4-2 win. And Akul going with 7-0. Lick shot right there. Lick shot right there. James got 10 points out of 12 so far. Okay. I'm keeping an eye on my one. When I did this at Sonny's, it wasn't very good. We only had 2 wins. Oh, God. I've had to change mine up anyway, so I'm definitely going to get more than 2 wins here. Because I feel a little bit more upbeat. The season starts in 10 days. Let's do it. Is that all from everybody? Ebony, what did you say? 4-0, 5-0? 5-0. Okay. So, guys, this is where reality hits right now. A team that we haven't beaten. Yeah? This is where reality hits. Tony, go first again on this one.
Okay. So, once again, great first 11. Yeah? Great first 11, playing an absolutely brilliant style of football. But we're now 5 games in. This is our 5th game. So guess what's happening? We're building on this leg. We're building on Arteta's work. Yeah? And we're beginning to see the fruit of his labor. So in my estimation, we go into this game. We've got a 5-0 win just the game prior. We're on a high. And remember what confidence breeds. Confidence breeds confidence. When you get into that mood of winning games, yeah, we go into this game. It's a tough game, but we win it 2-1.
Wow, that would be that result. I think Wolves have got the best record against the top 4 than any other team in the Premiership. If we went there and won 2-1, that is a huge statement. Bertram.
2-1 Wolves. I think we underestimate Wolves.
Jota,
Raul Jimenez, Adama Traore, who we have no answer for. The Portugal midfield. What are we talking about here? We're not going to Wolves is some team on the side. They're a very good team, a very strong team. A team plays well cohesively. The last 2 years that we played them, in fact, when they played us and we drew at the Emirates, they should have given us like 4.
They should have won. It was a mistake on the Mkhitaryan goal.
No, but I'm just saying they dominated. We don't play
did.
Wolves well. There's some teams you don't play well. We do not play Wolves well.
Yeah.
We don't match up well with Wolves for some reason. I'm not sure why, but we don't match up well, especially in the midfield.
Physicality.
It's the Arteta era, boys. It's the Arteta era.
It's coaching, man. It's coaching. And hopefully Arteta can counteract that. He's seen
let's hope Adama Traore is injured, because when he's on form, he runs us ragged.
So what's your score? What's your score, Bertram?
2-2.
2-2. 18's gone 2-0 Wolves. Vincey's gone 2-2. James has gone 2-2. Oh, James is saying Wolves equalised late on. Yeah, I hate that shit, James. That gives me nightmares. Kirk's gone 2-1. The 2 is in the away position, so that's an Arsenal win. That would be a huge result. Wolves 2-0, Kuke. Lee's gone for Wolves 2-1 as well. Nitesh, I think Nitesh did give a quote on prediction on that. Tony, if we lose Aubameyang in a week to injury, we can go back to watching Bundesliga. Well, Martinelli stepped in for Aubameyang, didn't he, and scored 2 goals in the 3 games. So we're looking good there, bro. We're looking good. And if Kieran Tierney is on the left and Saka is going to be on the bench because of Aubameyang being on the left, the whole thing looks okay. I think we can do all right.
And the thing I've got to say in response to the injuries, is this is what they're talking about in the NBA coming up. We're going to be seeing more load management than we've ever seen. Yeah. And this is going to reflect itself in the Premier League. We're going to see load management. Yeah. You've got 5 substitutes. Manage a player. If Aubameyang is that important to him, don't play him for more than 60 minutes of any game.
Especially if you're winning.
I think Arteta is like Wenger. He likes to change at 70. He doesn't like to change before then. He just doesn't.
So, African Gunner, did you give me your prediction here, Wolves?
No, not yet. So Tony and I agree on this. I think 2-1 Arsenal. Aubameyang scoring at the death to save us as usual. And I think in terms of what Bertrand was saying about Traore, I think, definitely he's a danger man, but I have confidence that Martinelli and Kieran Tierney / Saka, whoever's playing at left wing back, I think if they double team him, I think we'll be okay. So I'm going for a 2-1. 2-1 win.
I would not play Tierney over Saka. Tierney hasn't shown. I keep saying this. He got manhandled by Antonio. He got manhandled by Antonio. He made a dummy playing against him. It'd be murder. I think first degree at that.
In terms of what you're saying,
he's not ready.
Saka doesn't have the experience, right? So maybe we do a substitution in the 60th minute and we play both of them to handle him. Maybe that's a strategy that we play. But I think Tierney is a smarter player, so he'll be able to position himself to make sure he doesn't get beat. And then maybe if he gets tired in the first half, bring on Saka in the second half to keep him under control. But he's definitely one of the players we have to look at. And Jota, he's not a good player. The only player that scares me in the center forward position for Wolves is Jimenez, because that guy, he's underrated and he scores lots of goals. So he's the only one that I'm worried about.
You haven't watched Jota enough.
Okay, guys, we gotta move on because we got 6 more games.
I just really quickly want to respond to Bertram. Yeah, Saka is very small in compared to Tierney. He's a very short player. I'm not saying he's not a bad defender, but he's not a physical defender. He doesn't shoulder people. And I know I'm not trying to say that Kieran Tierney is like Kolasinac. Kolasinac is a tank, yeah. But if you want to look at a middle ground between Saka and Kolasinac, Tierney's your guy.
Okay, Ebony, let's move on from this one quickly.
Okay, Wolves are a very difficult team to beat, but I think it will be a very hard fought 1-0 to us.
Right, and for me, I think we're going to lose 1-0. We've never produced a result against them. They are such a good team, and you only have to look at the way they play the top other teams. I don't think. Look, I think if we make the progress that Arteta has put in, and we'll keep on improving, then I think we might stand a chance of getting something out of this game. But it's unlikely. We went there at the end of last season and got bust up 3-0, and we need to come with our A game. They are a very, very, very good team, and it doesn't get any easier because Leicester is up next. The saving grace with this one is we're at home. We're at home on this one.
Just check out Jonathan's comment before move on to Leicester. I think it's a pretty good one.
Hey, it might do. That's a good shout. Nice one, Jonathan. Nice one, son. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. That's a good shout. Let's go with Tony again first on this one. And guys in the chat, let's hear what is this going to be another, if we come off the back of a loss against Wolves away, we're going to need a result. It's only going to get harder. If we beat Wolves away, we are going to be so pumped up for this game to blow them away, because look, we went over there and played them at their ground and we just weren't in their class, and that's the bottom line. We just went. Brendan Rodgers was all over us. So Tony, what happens in this game?
So again, we just didn't turn up at Leicester in the away game. We did not turn up. I actually believe that was the worst performance we've played all season, that Leicester away game. But again, confidence breeds confidence. If we can go to Wolves and get a result against them in their ground, imagine the confidence we come back and we're on our home turf, bruv. It's a win. It's a win.
It's a win. 1-0, 2-0,
2-1, 3-1. We let a goal in, but we still scored 2 or 3.
Yeah, and do we let that goal into Vardy? I think that's a non-starter, that one, isn't it? We all know how that turns out. Bertram.
I'm listening to us talking about these teams, and I'm not sure what teams you've been watching. Luckily, I get to watch all the games every Saturday, and I watch all the players. Leicester's just a better team.
Yeah, they are.
All the defenders are good. A very solid midfield, 2 skillful wingers, and Vardy is a nightmare to play against. Just a nightmare. Runs all day, doesn't ever give up. Quick as whatever.
Indeed.
And indeed he's back now.
Yeah,
I see him, he's back.
Yeah,
and he dominates in the midfield. He literally dominates. how we expect to beat that team. I mean, they're away from home or we're at home. We can beat them if we score 4 or 5, but they're going to score. So I'll say 2-2.
So we've got some scores coming in now. We've got Vincey going in 3-2 to Arsenal. That's a fair shout. There's going to be plenty of goals. I think that's going to be another Everton game. When we beat Everton 3-2 at the Emirates, I think that's going to be another Everton game. But they're a much better team than Everton. This is a team that is easily going to finish. They're actually trying to finish second. They're actually challenging Man City for that second spot. James is going with 2-1 to Arsenal. That would be a huge result. Lee's going for a 1-1 or 2-2 draw. 18's going for 3-1 to Leicester. Wow, that would be so disappointing if we lost on that score, mate. Kirk's going 2-1 to Arsenal. Cool K is going 2-1 to Leicester. Oh, man. Adrian's good to see you, mate. Adrian's sparking it up with a 2-1 win to Arsenal. Nitesh is saying, I want Arteta to play 5 at the back against City, Leicester City, and Wolves, and both Saka and Turney and Leicester. Solskjaer's tactics will work against the sides. Okay.
10 at the back won't work. 10 at the back won't work. It still won't make a difference.
It would be. I think we'd be inviting a little bit of pressure there from not so much against Wolves. I think Nitesh is right against Wolves, but Leicester, I wouldn't do that because you're just inviting pressure and you're just going to get peppered, man. You're going to get plummeted. Bertram, it's a big one. It's a big one. Leicester City. If we're gonna stand any chance of making a top 4, we have to win this game at home.
So I think one thing we haven't talked about actually is I know in the Bundesliga playing away at home doesn't make a difference. The results are not reflective of home field advantage, but I think it does make a lot of difference in the PL. The only thing would be that my favorite player may now be able to perform away from home, won't get intimidated. So if he gets a game, he may help us if he plays to his capability. He may help us because he doesn't have the intimidating crowd around us. He doesn't seem to play well when he's in an environment which is not reflective of the support he normally gets. So hopefully, we're at home. I think it's a draw. Let's say just a very, very good team.
Yeah.
Wait, just before we move on, or I give mine, who's your favorite player? Please be more explicit.
My favorite player?
Yeah, who are you referring to right now?
What do you mean? I'm missing that.
You said you were talking about a specific player if he performs since he performs at home. It sounds kind of like
Well, we all know who my favorite player is. I mean, he's lazy.
Okay.
African Google. Even the people in the chat know what he's talking about, man.
No, I just needed to hear him say it, you know.
Lazy's my favorite player of all time.
He would have been proud to say his name, but he was quiet, you know, so I just had to make him say it.
Okay.
Remember, guys, this is episode 27. We all know who Bertram's favorite player is. But the African Goon has been here for four shows in a row.
No, he knows. He also knows. It's his favorite player.
Yeah, I knew. I just wanted to.
Look there, Vincey spelling it out for everybody, just so that you know. If you didn't know, now you know, guys. And we got here some more scores. We've got Adrian. I did Adrian's one already, which is 2-1 to Arsenal. We got any more? No, we haven't got any more.
My score is, totally true, Bertram. I think Leicester is better than Wolves, and we all know history repeats itself many, many times with Arsenal, and we know that Jamie Vardy is going to torment us. I'm going for a 1-1, Aubameyang to score, and Vardy to score a last-minute goal and celebrate like he won the league.
I'm actually I'm gonna go. Let's go with Ebony first, and then I'll give my prediction. Ebony,
2-1 to Arsenal. Vardy or no Vardy? Come on now. You know, Leicester are not going to beat Arsenal at the Emirates. Simple.
Wow. Okay, that's a big shout.
That's not even a statement. That's a fact.
I'm going with Jonathan, and for the same reasons, Jonathan, that Jonathan says we always do well at home to Leicester. Welbeck late winner, Springs come to mind. Leicester are good, 2-2 draw. Our defense, even when Leicester won the Premier League, mate, we still tormented them. Walcott and Sanchez literally ripped them to shreds, 5-2 when we went down there. Walcott, remember, was playing as a striker. It was one of the 11 games he played, and them two just absolutely tormented them. And that was a championship title winning team. And Arsenal went and blew them up at their place, 5-2. But yeah, I take the point. When we're at home, we perform well. I'm going with 2-2 as well on that one, my brother.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I don't think there's any home for the rest of the season. I think we keep talking about playing at home.
Yeah.
Playing at home means you're getting vibes from your home fans. They're cheering for you. You hear your name being called. They're motivating you. Where's the loudspeakers are not providing that same impetus, that same encouragement, that same energy. So how do we need this to be a home field advantage? I'm even more familiar with the pitch. I know how the pitch layout is, but that home field advantage, I think we got to curtail that and think about what home field means for the rest of the season. It's not the same.
Okay, so this is the one, guys. Guys in the chat, let me hear your predictions, and I want it from your heart, soul, and minds. London Derby, we're at Spurs. What a run! Wolves, Leicester, Spurs, and Liverpool. What the hell? Is that? Am I looking at this right? That's all 4 games in a row. Oh,
which affects your perspective about the previous game, where you say you expect to win the first 2 of the first 7.
Oh my God.
We probably lose the rest of them, so that wouldn't be a good outcome. Actually,
bloody hell! No wonder everybody's gone quiet. All right, guys, don't go quiet on me now. Let's throw this one up here. Tony, let's get some words of wisdom, man. Let's get some inspiration. Away from home at the toilet bowl, as we call it.
Yes, sir. So all we can hope is that Tottenham haven't quite got used to playing on their new pitch. Because when you're playing in a new stadium, you don't have like a home advantage. Arsenal have played at the Emirates Ashburton Grove for years now, whereas Tottenham is a new pitch. They
haven't got the best record there, have they?
Exactly. So this is a toughie because obviously this is where you need, your Ray Parlers, the players that kind of go, "Oh, I know this game." Like, boys, we cannot lose this game for our fans. When you watch those old highlights and you're like watching what people used to say, when they describe what it was like in a dressing room and saying, "Boys, I don't care what you do, we cannot lose this game."
Could you imagine if we won that game in the first London derby in a brand new stadium, and we make that stadium our own? Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Bragging rights.
I'm a little bit wary because Spurs will be saying the exact same thing in their dressing room. We cannot lose this game to our worst rival in our home, in our brand new home. So, this is a tough one. I'm a little bit conflicted here. I'm definitely not going to say we're going to lose. A draw for me is good. Yeah. Do we win this game off the back of Wolves and off the back of Leicester? Jesus. I mean, again, confidence is a massive thing. If we've got all those wins under a belt and the confidence is high, we can go there and we can win. But I'm going to say a draw on this one. I want to say 2-2.
Okay, 2-2. Listen, we've got, wow, okay. James is going, we'll beat Spurs 2-0. 18's going, Kane and Sung are back, we lose 3-2. 18, you know what, I'm going to say Ebony on you. You're disappointing me tonight, man. You're it's a dagger to the heart right now to me, man. Bertrand will be there. Lee has gone for 4-2 to the Gunners. 4 goals at their ground. Oh man, I'm just loving this, bro. And Vince has gone for 2-2. Cool K's going for 1-1. Kirk is going for, if Kane and Sung are back fit, then play 2-2. If not, yeah, they're back, mate. They're in training, both of them. Kane, there's some problem with Sung though on the 14-day quarantine. The FA are trying to waive that thing. I don't know what's happening. I do know that he's finished his stint in the Korean army. It's funny, there's no press on what's going on there, so maybe they're just trying to shoehorn it in, because if there was press about it, people would be complaining. Why is it that he's allowed to walk straight into the country with no 14-day quarantine and everyone else has to? Even the diplomats have to do it. So the footballers are not important as diplomats. I think they're trying to shoehorn that in and then wait for 2 weeks and then say, oh, well, he was in quarantine for 2 weeks. Yeah, I think they're trying to fiddle it. That's what I think. Jonathan saying we draw sadly as Mourinho will be defensive. Kane will buy them a penalty. Oh man, another Vardy. Who's refereeing the game will be a difference. Yeah, we all know that's going to be Mike Dean, even though they've not announced it. I can see us picking Xhaka and he gets sent off, or he's probably going to give a goal away because that's what he normally does. We're the better side, but we draw 2-2. Oh man, I'm feeling you, bro. La African Guna. Has Bertram gone yet?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Yeah.
Look, I think Serge Gnabry is going to score for us. So we do.
I
have a good feeling. Look, I think it's a different game, right? The players, even the new ones, actually get it. If you look when Torreira, how he played against them, Aubameyang played against them, players get it.
Lacazette.
I don't think there's any home field advantage, especially for Spurs. There's zero home field advantage. It's playing on a neutral ground as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to say 2-2. I think they have their full squad back. They have a very good forward line.
Yeah, they do.
All their players are healthy. Have a good forward line. I think they're iffy in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I talked to Neville a few days ago, and he was saying they got the full team back in training.
Yeah, I think 2-2.
And I tried to go out to my cousin Lukey. Big shout out to you, Lukey. But Lukey's Spurs fan, my cousin. He don't want to talk to me right now. So he'll only talk to me after this game. When this game is done, then he'll pick up the phone and call me. The African Guna.
Yeah, tough one. Obviously, we know Spurs is a good team, even though we don't like to admit it. I mean, Son and Harry Kane, they are world-class players in my eyes. I take them any day at Arsenal. I'm not too sure about Dele Alli. I don't really like that guy, even though he is quality. I mean, we have to admit he does have some quality. But yeah, I'm definitely seeing a red card as well. But 3-2 Arsenal and Martinelli to set his name in stone in Arsenal history. That's what it is for me. That's the game that Martinelli comes out and shows the world what he is. Scores the winner.
Guys, was the Dyer banned for 8 games or was it for the rest of the season? I can't. That's a good question, Kez. I think was it for 8 games? What was the Dyer ban? Can somebody look that up for me for a second? He's a pain in the arse in the midfield. They don't even like him. Their own fans don't even like this guy. But
I think it's a benefit if he plays. I don't think it's a detriment if he plays. I think it's a benefit.
He always does one on us. That's why. Especially in the box.
He doesn't.
Look, bro, elbows, trips, everything in the box, and the guy never gets called out for penalties. Shirt pulling, the whole lot. He's a dirty player, man. And the refs always let him off, man. They always let him off. Jamie, I hope he's banned for that game. If someone can check just for a second and find out for me, that would be great. Ebony.
Right. First of all, Kane is not world class. All right. He's not world class. No, he's not. Okay. He just remember his cock up in the World Cup. He's not world class. He's exceptional. He's not world class. Neither is Son. He's also exceptional, but he's not world class either.
Look at Tony. Look at Tony's reaction.
This whole thing about world class is just so badly branded. They ain't world class. Back to the game. We're going to win. We're going to win 2-1. It will be a hard fought 2-1 because of the historical rivalry. 2-1 Arsenal. I don't care. 2-1 Arsenal. We're winning that game.
Right. I actually I'm a Gooner. I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't like no Tottenham player, and I'm actually going to agree with Ebony. I don't care. I don't like none of their players, and I don't think none of them are world class. I think they're a pile of shite. And when I look at Kane, I look at Alan Shearer, man that scored half of his goals from the penalty spot. If you take them goals away from him, he's nothing. He does have some quality about him, but I think he's overrated.
Just one point on that, Apollo. Remember we were talking about billionaires.
He's exceptional.
There are many different types. There's many types of billionaires, right? So world class, there's many different types of world class. Yes, the Messi and Ronaldo are the elite of the world class, but I still class Harry Kane and Son at the bare minimum. They are world class players. Consistently score 20 plus goals every season, assists, whatever. They're complete players. I take them in. Are you saying you wouldn't take them in our team?
So one point, guys.
Hold on.
This is important. It's important.
Hold on.
Goals against Arsenal in the PL. Goal against Arsenal in the PL. Rooney 12, Fowler 10, Kane 10. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, forget about that, Bertram. I don't think you heard me. He plays for Spurs. Listen. He could be Messi. If Messi played for Spurs, I wouldn't rate him. He play. I don't care who you are. If you play for Spurs, you're in the toilet bowl. End of. Yeah. I ain't rating you nothing. I ain't clapping you. I ain't watching your replays, your highlights, or nothing. That is it. Sorry, I'm a gooner, and I don't rate no Spurs player. I don't care who you are. If Ronaldo put on the Spurs shirt tomorrow, he's dead to me. Trust me.
In my opinion, that's just dumb logic, because you should rate players individually based on their talent. You shouldn't be putting a bias.
Okay. African Gooner, you're right. It is dumb logic. I'm a Gooner, and I don't like no Spurs player, and that is it. Draw the line.
I don't think that
African Gooner, these scores that we're predicting reflects what Apollo is saying. They're fans' perspective with no logic, because saying we're gonna beat City at City, you have to be a fan. Nothing else.
This is about my dislike for Spurs. And if any of you lot
brother Bertram. Amen, brother Bertram.
Any of you lot tell me that you rate any Spurs player, you're on your own, bro. Because I ain't rating shit when it comes to Spurs. Next game, guys. By the way, mine is a 1-1 draw. Ebony, did we do you?
Yes, 2-1.
Yeah. 2-1. Okay, so mine's a 1-1 draw. I just don't want to. I just want to come out with some points, because we're definitely going to be battling them for the top Champions League spot. Hopefully, if they didn't have them two players back, then they were dead as far as I'm concerned. But Kane and Son are going to give them some hope, which I hate, man. Do you remember that? I think it was the game they were playing Villa, and they were losing 2-0. And for some, I think it was like 5 minutes left. It's like Spurs are never going to score 2 goals. What happened?
Yeah, and they did.
Oh, unbelievable. This jammy gets, man. Out of the frying pan, guys, into the fire. Liverpool playing Arsenal at the Emirates. Guys in the chat, yeah? Let's hear, man. Let's hear what your predictions are. Tony, you take this one again, bro.
Okay, so once again, I'm going to bring in some realism to this table, because some of you don't seem to realize this. Liverpool have won the league. The league by now is done. The league by now is done. They're already on holiday. They're on the beach. They come to Liverpool. They come to Arsenal, not requiring a single point.
You know what? Tony is talking sense, yeah? Tony, listen, park the rum for a second, whether it be black rum, white rum. Tony is talking semantics. He's talking what we call in the NFL as intangibles, yeah? And that is something that makes totally 100% sense to me. What's the mindset of those players going to be, Tony, when they've won the title?
You've already won the league. You've already paraded the trophy at your ground the week before.
Boy, I might change my score, you know.
Brother.
So Tony, when I get my chance, I'll explain why your argument has valid. It's a very fallible argument. I don't buy the argument.
Tony just convinced me to change my score. I was going 3-1 Liverpool, but I've just changed it.
So are Liverpool still in the FA Cup?
I think so.
No.
So they're out of the FA Cup. So so listen. I don't know. They think, all right, we've won the league now. What we playing for? So Brett, who's their coach? Brett Klopp, yeah. He's now thinking, he's in rebuilding mode. He's in the okay, I'm gonna load manage these players to the end of the season. I'm gonna see what my young kids are gonna bring me for next season. Yeah. I'm not saying this is an easy game, Bertram. I am saying that the mentality of players who have won the league, finished, is done, it's over. The Invincibles is a thing of the past. They can't do it no more. They're on a new path. But they come to Arsenal, who are fighting for something big. We have got everything to win. They've got nothing to lose.
It's going to be a
Just
big
like
game.
in last year's Europa League final. So what's your point?
Is the Europa League not done? Is it not finished till next season?
No, I'm just referring to the point of last season in the final when Arsenal had everything to lose and Chelsea had nothing to gain, yet we still got pummeled.
Yeah,
So,
that was without Arteta.
So,
I think Arteta's a different.
Let me make a couple of points. When you get to me, I'll make my points. When you get to me, I'll make my points.
I think it has. Tony, have you gone for a score here?
Okay, so with that, I want everybody to think about that, and I'll be interested to hear what you've got to say, Bertram. But I think you must bear that in mind. Liverpool will be in the Barbados already, or the Ibifas. Half of their players are on holiday by now. They're in holiday mode mentally because they've won the league. So it's still a tough game, but my feeling is we're at home. We can get a result. I'm going to go for a 1-0.
I'll take that all day long. Bertram. Actually, Bertram, before you go, James has gone with a 2-1 win to Liverpool. The only loss remaining on his schedule. Yeah, pretty much. I think after that it's Villa and Watford. So that would be all the tough games gone. That the 2 is after the 1. So that's a 2-1 Liverpool win. Same with Kurt. Kurt's gone 3-1 to Liverpool. That was a score that I was going with. I think Tony's talked me into a draw now. Kez has gone 2-1 Arsenal. 18's gone 2-0 to Liverpool. Let me see. Lee has gone 2-0 to Arsenal. Ooh. Will there be VAR? Yes, there will. There was some talk about them not using VAR, but they've settled on there being VAR now. So VAR will be used. We've got Jonathan. Jonathan's going, if we beat Liverpool 3-2, they're on holiday, and there's an African Nations Cup next January, so Mane and Salah on the beach. And Melvin, nice to see you, Melvin. Big shout out to you, bruv. And less tackling 4-4. Excellent. James, I think 1-1, but yep, that's 1-1 there. Bertram, you got the conch, man.
So I think it's Liverpool 3-1 for these reasons. One is, I think what we're forgetting is that, yes, they can't be invincible. They can't go unbeaten. They try to maximize the points they're getting. If you're the Ox, if you're Mane, if you're Salah, first of all, for Mane and Salah, you're trying to win that golden boot. You're trying to be top scorer in the league. You're competing to be top scorer in the league. You want to put the ball in the net, and that will translate to victory. Secondly, look at their defense. I mean, their right back is probably one of the best passers in the PL. Even at 65%, they're better than us. Even at 65%, they're full team with the Van Dijks, the Robertsons. Think about their entire team, they're better than us. Their midfield work like dogs. They run all game. They run us off the park. Think about Lazy and Ceballos trying to run against that midfield, who are probably not as technical as footballers, but run rings around them all day. I don't see, unless we play Pepe at the number 10 role, to try what Emery did when he went to Liverpool, and I think it worked. Pepe just didn't put the ball in the net. But when you think about the entirety of the game, when we play them, we're not on the field. It's like men against boys. It's not even close. So and at home, we don't have the crowd behind our team. I'm going to say 3-1. I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool. I would be lucky to come out of there with a 3-1.
Yeah, see, I originally went for 3-1. I remember when we went up to Anfield and they got the penalty, and then they scored on the corner kick on the set piece where they was holding back David Luiz. Those were two lucky goals. It was still an even game. I thought we played decently then, but under Arteta, again, Arteta's the mitigating factor here. He's going to make a huge difference, and so will our results against Wolves, Leicester, and Spurs. The outcome of those 3 games before this one will go a long way into this result against Liverpool. The African Guna, you got the conch.
Well, is Arteta some wizard now? He's going to wave his magic wand and all of a sudden, like, Arsenal's going to change as a team? Like, yes, I agree.
Yes, he is.
No,
He already has.
Houdini.
Wait. To a certain degree, yes, I totally agree with you. Of course, we're a better team. We look better and stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, Tony, you're right. They're going to be on the beach and stuff. But as Bertram said, just took everything out of my mouth. At a 60% level that they play, they can beat us. And history tells us every single time that Arsenal has everything to lose and the other team has nothing to gain, Arsenal never show up. And yeah, 3-1 to Liverpool. I mean, it's just going to be a case of men against boys, and the commentators are just going to reiterate why Liverpool deserve to win the league, because they're just that much better of a team than us. Unfortunately,
African, based on your knowledge of Arsenal, your history is very, very short, my friend.
No.
I can tell you, yeah. You're in no position to talk about historically because you can't even remember Patrick Vieira. Yeah,
no,
and that's not even 10 years ago.
That's actually unfair because my history, I'm not as old as you. You might be thinking about 1960s, but I'm born in 1996, so 2000.
Yeah, and you still don't know Patrick Vieira.
I was born in 1996, so when I was 4 years old, he was playing for Arsenal. So yes, I'm gonna know.
That's true. Yeah.
It's unfair of you to call that out because my history will go as far to 1990, not the 1930s like you.
Yeah.
And also, I'm a first generation Arsenal fan, which means that no one in my family has ever supported Arsenal. I'm the first Arsenal supporter in my family. Therefore, the history starts from me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point. That's African Guna. That's a good point. And guys, Vincey is just bringing Tommy Cooper into this thing right now, just like that. It's the Arteta. It's what James is saying. It's the Arteta effect. Yeah. What this man? If we beat Man City, everything we've talked about tonight goes out the window. If we beat Man City, we're gonna have to come back to the table and do this again because everything has gone out the table. Yeah, Ebony, you got the conch, man. Ebony,
1-0 to the Arsenal.
Right. I'm almost embarrassed.
If Liverpool, listen, I just read a comment that if Liverpool are champions, they're going to be, they might be a bit lax.
They will be.
They might be a bit lax, yeah? So by the time we get there, Liverpool, they'd have lifted the cup. We've got them. And we have the potential. It's at home. And we can do it. So I'm going 1-0 to the Arsenal.
And don't forget, this is now game 6. We're in July, right? We're well into July.
Okay, all right.
Players like Nicolas Pepe are going to be flourishing right now, I hope.
I'm going for a 1-1 draw. And the way I'm looking at this is we drawed them 1-1 when we had Emery, when we were on our unbeaten run. They came to the Emirates, big bad Liverpool. Everybody was quaking in their boots, and Torreira battered them. We came off the field with blood and sweat in that game. That was the hardest, and we could have lost. Liverpool hit the post. They outplayed us for various times in the game, but we stood up and we were accountable. We fought like soldiers in that game. And if Arteta gets these guys to do the same thing, I expect that we will be on a level par. 11 men on the field, don't care what points you got, don't care how big your salary is, you've still got to get past me. If Arteta instills that fighting spirit into these guys, into the champions at the Emirates, I see a draw.
Wait, guys, I want to say one thing. Liverpool has probably played more football over the last year and a half than any other team. They just got their first break, probably the last 2 years, first good break during the season, right? They went to Bayern and kicked their butts. Yeah, they lost to Atletico Madrid, a hard team to play, but it's a team that go to Bayern and beat Bayern and Bayern, who beat Barcelona 4+ at their place, right? Barcelona. We've played Barcelona's Arsenal. That's like us playing Barcelona. We've played Barcelona. I don't think we've come close to beating Barcelona. So I do think we got to give the Liverpool players much more credit than we're giving them by saying it doesn't go. They're going to go to Ibiza. They're going to go to the US. They're going to go to Saudi Arabia for vacation when their season is still ongoing. They have nothing to play for. What are they going to play for the rest of the season? FA Cup, they're no longer in the Champions League. They're no longer in the FA. What leagues are they in apart from finish out the season on a strong note to prepare for next season? I don't see how we get to the point of saying we're going to beat them at home. Look, any team can beat any team on a given day. Watford proved that. Watford proved that when they played Liverpool. But Liverpool gets up for the big games.
Yeah,
and Man City.
And going off of what Bertram has said, I just have one question for the panel, right? I mean, are we expecting Jurgen Klopp to kind of accept mediocrity? I mean, we all know that he's a perfectionist. I don't think that he's going to accept players going on the beach, right? I mean, if we look at his personality and the way he is, he's not that type of coach, right? Where he'll be like, oh yeah, we won, and he's just going to let his players do as they please. I think he's still going to have a certain high expectation from the players, but totally agree with Tony. They will be
very well saying that the coach is instilling that in them. But we have to know psychologically.
Yes,
players
agreed.
switch off. Psychologically, players switch off. We know that it's a fact.
So, guys, Arsenal Vlog has gone for 2-2. Big shout out to Arsenal Vlogs, guys. I think he only needs about 50 more subs for him to hit 1,000. And good luck with that, bro, because you'll be monetized after 1,000. So you'd hit the big time and join the rest of us, join the club with the big boys of the Arsenal YouTubers. So big shout out to you. Picking up on something Bertram said. Bertram, you don't think Arsenal have ever beaten Barcelona? I want to tell you about... I want to tell you about a day, and I know the exact.
I can't recall. I must have slipped my memory.
Hold on. This was one of the biggest days of my life because I've been working for my company for 18 years, and on the 16th of February 2011, I had a job interview to become an area sales manager. And out of 12 people who went for the job, I got the job, and I left that interview knowing that after X amount of years working at a company, I've actually made management, and I had to go in King's Cross, leave that interview, go straight to the Emirates to watch Arsenal take on Barcelona.
Did I get that Theo scored in?
No, this is the one, Theo, the one that you're talking about is when he scored. This was the one when he came on, when he was running rings around the right-hand side and set up who scored it was... Asharvin and Van Persie, the ones that hit the net. Walcott.
I did forget that game. Yes, I apologize. I got African Guna disease, and I apologize.
We were solid, but that day meant more to me. I mean, there's been times where I've got married, I've had my kids, I've had my grandchildren, and days that in your life has made a difference. And the 16th of February 2011 was a day in my life that changed forever. When I die, it's going to be on my plaque. The day that I had achieved in business and the day that Arsenal beat Barcelona at the Emirates. It's just one of those days, as an Arsenal fan, one of my best in history. So I just wanted to get that out. We're on Liverpool. I think that if we got some late scores, Aaron has gone 2-1, and that's a 2 in front. So that's Arsenal winning there. So it's gonna be absolutely brilliant, guys. The next 2 games is against Villa and Watford, and I want to hear you guys in the chat smash the crap out of Aston Villa now, because at this point I'm just wondering, will they actually be relegated? Let me just have a look. Just have a look at the league table. So Villa, oh my lord, yeah. So at this point they'll probably be dead and gone. Let's hope they don't prove me wrong, but they're second from bottom at the moment, although they are within a shout of putting a run together to get out of the relegation zone. But anyone could tell what position that they're going to be in. Tony's not here at the moment, so I'm going to start with Bertram on this one. Bertram, and guys in the chat, let's hear your prediction for Villa.
I don't think we should be too rough on them, because I think we should figure out a way to get Grealish. I'm a big Grealish fan, actually. So I think we should tell him during the game that, look, we'll take it easy on you. You come join us next season. I do think we'll win 3-0.
This is away from home, remember?
I do think we'll win 3-0.
Oh, wow.
They're going to be going to the beach.
I do think we win 3-0. This is away from home, Bertram. I do think we win 3-0.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, they'll be the ones going to the beach. If you're relegated, what does it matter? Don't try not to get injured. You may not have a contract next year, especially those who are going to be out of contract. I don't see them wanting to play after that. So I think we'll win 3-0.
Yep, and we've got James going 4-0 to the Arsenal away from home. Vincey 4-1 away from home. Lee 2-0 away from home. 18 3-0. Kirk 3-0. Jesus Christ, this is a whitewash. Thank God we got those that 4-game stretch out of the window. Now we can just pull up. Jesus Christ, look at Kez. Jeez, Kez. Jeez. Kez, my brother. 6-0.
6-0. Wow.
That's sending them home to the championship with their legs between their legs, knees between their legs between their knees. Yeah. Let African Guna.
5-0.
You be telling the legs.
5-0. 5-0 to send a message. It'll be the end of the season. So regardless of if we are competitive or not, and if we actually are still in the race, I still think this is one of the games we'll swipe them off the floor.
Wow. To think that I originally went for a draw in this game was nothing.
No way. No way we draw.
When I looked at it on my preview that I done with Sonny, this was the one where I thought they were battling for relegation and made it really tough for us. And the crowd, well, there's no crowd, but they really got into it. And I thought that we were going to come out with a draw. So I went for a 1-1 draw. When I did this with Melvin, big shout out to you, Melvin. Melvin saying if they are relegated, certain players will try harder to get in the Premiership transfer. But even so, Melvin, if they're not relegated and they're battling to stay in the Premiership, it's going to be a much harder game. That's why I went for 1-1 in this one. Let African Gunner, did you give a score here?
Yeah, 5-0.
Okay, 5-0. Jeez. Cool K has gone 2-1 to Arsenal as well. Yeah, that's what I got it. I got it right in the end, James. I got it right in the end. Ebony, what's going to happen in this one?
Right. Aston Villa v Arsenal. I'm going to say 3-0 to the Arsenal, and Grealish will leave.
But will he leave for Arsenal? Will Ryan Fraser get in there quickly? Yeah, because remember these contracts are up on the 30th of June, so man can talk to a team as much as he wants. There's nothing. If the league says you're not allowed to talk to another team, you just hold up your contract and then point on the date.
Yeah, I think Grealish will go. He will leave because he's Premiership quality, so he'll leave.
Excellent. Tony, Arsenal away at Aston Villa. What's going to happen there?
Mash them up. I'm going with 5.
5, right? It's going to be.
Listen, I'm of the belief that Mikel Arteta will bring back the heyday of Arsenal, and the heyday of Arsenal was when we used to put our foot on the throat of teams, and we used to put 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s past teams. We have to bring those days back.
Arteta ball from Wenger ball. Nice. So I'm going with, as I said to you guys, I went with 1-1 previously, but I'm going to go with 1-0 Arsenal. That's where my main changes for that stretch. Yeah, I'm going to go for 1-0. I still think there's a chance that, I had them down as going for relegation. They're not that far off. They've actually got the same amount of points. Where are we? They've got 25 points. The next 3 teams above them are all got 27. So one win, and that can put them in 16th or 15th out of the relegation zone. So we really don't know. I think that I'm going out on a limb to say that they're still going to be playing for relegation to try and get out of relegation at that point, because they're a decent. I think they're better than Bournemouth. I think they're better than Watford, and I definitely think they're better than West Ham. So Watford's in 17th, same points as Bournemouth, who are 18th in the relegation zone, and same points as West Ham. All 3 of those teams are on 27. And I don't rate Bournemouth, I don't rate Watford, and I definitely don't rate West Ham. So I actually think Villa are going to get out of relegation. That's my prediction. And, we can talk about this as we come closer, and you lot will go, Apollo, remember when you said Villa weren't going to get relegated? You were right. And that just makes this game a very, very tough one away from home. So I originally was going with 1-0, but I'll just go with 1-0 for now. The last game of the season, and to wrap up the show, Arsenal at home to Watford, who will be relegated at that point. So you lot can fling in your 4s and 5s and 6s as much as you want right now. Guys, let's hear your prediction for the Watford game. Bertram, I'll go back to you I'll go back to you first as well. Let's go around the clock.
I'm not sure how you denigrate a team that should have beaten Liverpool twice in the same season. They manhandled Liverpool in both games, should have easily won both games. Not just win both games, easily won both games. They totally manhandled Liverpool. because their midfield run all game. When they're on their game, the Senegal player who plays on the right, Troy Deeney makes him a better different team because he has the confidence and he has the gravitas. So I wouldn't say that Villa is better than Watford. I think Watford has decent players. Their defense is a little bit shaky. But I think we'll win 2-0. I think Watford love to play us. They love that confrontation with us. And they're more physical than us. The core is a good player. We have Delafeo. I'm not sure if he's going to. I think he's out, right? He's probably out. I think he got injured really bad.
Yeah.
But they have a decent forward line. I don't see us destroying them. I think we'll win 2-0.
It's a good shout. So we've got some scores on the doors. Arsenal Vlogs are saying 3-1 to Arsenal. Vincey is saying 3-2 to Arsenal. We're going to let in 2 goals there at home against Watford, Vincey. James, 3-1. Lee has gone for 3-1 to the Arsenal. 18 has gone for 8-1. 18-8. Oh, I get it. That's very funny, my friend. Yeah. No, there's 2 8s in 18, so he's saying, yeah, I see where he was going with that. Very funny, bro. Very, very, very funny. Kirk is going for 2-1. Jonathan is going, sorry, but Pearson as a manager is a battler. They will survive. They will beat us 2-1 at home. Yeah, I would like to see us own Decor if we don't get Partey. Wow. There will be penalties. Oh man, yeah, us and London clubs. African Guna, what are you going for there?
I'm going for a 2-1 win to Arsenal. And Aubameyang scoring and running to the fans to celebrate us making Champions League next season.
What fans?
Hey, in the Champions, yeah.
I mean, obviously not going to be fans in there, but he's going to go to the camera to celebrate with the fans
and sign in the team. And signing the team.
And sign the camera.
No, he's run to say goodbye. He's waving goodbye to
Melvin's coming with 3-0. Appreciate that, Melvin. Appreciate that, my brother. And guys, if you don't know Melvin, he's on Sonny's chat, so you can join us when we're on there with him. He features on Sonny's platform quite a bit. Knows his stuff. And you know, when I talk about being a historian, Melvin knows his stuff. So when I mention Jack Kelsey, the goalkeeper, who is in the top 3 of all time or honorable mention, Melvin would have well known about that brother right
We
there.
are fun a tutor for African Gunner, so we're in a good place.
Excellent. Nitish has gone 2-1 Arsenal. So James has gone with 26 out of a possible 30 points. Wow. So James, that would see us in 4th, not 5th. If that's our goal tally, we would get 4th place. We wouldn't get 5th. That would be an automatic Champions League spot.
And then James woke up. Then James woke up and realized that he was dreaming.
Arsenal Vlogs gone for 2-0. Oh man. Okay. Ebony, African Gunner, did you go? You went, didn't you?
2-1.
2-1. Okay. Ebony, I need to add up my points. Jonathan says he's got 23 out of a possible 30. Nitesh has said he's got 26, even on FIFA. Nice one, bro. A 26 out of 30. Guys, some of these, the guys in the chat look like they're on the way to the Champions League next season. Ebony.
So I'll say one thing, guys. I'll say one thing. You know, when you're sleeping, when you're dreaming, you don't know you're dreaming. But when you're awake, you know you're awake. Mm-hmm. But if you're sleeping, you dream, you don't know you're dreaming. I think they're still sleeping. 26 out of 30? I don't see that happening.
Yeah, so I'm adding mine up. I've gone for the Norwich win. I've gone for the... which was the one before that? I've gone for... Hold on
Southampton.
No, we lose at Southampton for me. Brighton. It was Brighton. So for me, it was the wins are Brighton, Norwich, and Watford. Yeah. So I had 2 out of the 10, and now I've gone for 3 out of the 10. So I only see us winning 3 games, and I see the Leicester draw, Spurs draw, Liverpool draw, Aston Villa draw, and
we
we
lost.
lose to Southampton. We lose, and Man City as well. So I've gone for 5 draws. So with my one, 4, 9. So I've only gone. I'm 14 points out of 30. So I don't see us getting there at all. So that's where my goal tally's up. Ebony, what have you gone for with the Watford game?
I'm going 3-0 Arsenal, and unfortunately Watford will be relegated. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. We've got here. Lee's got 25 out of a possible 30. Why is mine so low? I've got 14 points out of 30, guys.
Because you're a realist.
As well. We're the draw specialists, especially when tactically you are setting up your team against that stretch there. Remember, guys, we've got Man City, Wolves, Leicester, Spurs, Liverpool. That's 5. That's half of our 10 games against teams at the top in positions above us. That is not going to be easy. 1 draw, 1 loss, the rest wins. Oh, wow. Okay. Tony, what are you going to go for with the last game? Guys, add up your totals. How much point totals have you got from out of all of this?
Okay, so I'm agreeing with Ebony. 3-0 to the Arsenal. Sign the ting. And just so you guys are aware, tomorrow is the day Man City go to the courts to fight the courts of arbitration for their right to compete in the Champions League. So it's a big day tomorrow.
Yeah,
big day for us as well.
My sum total is 22/23, depending on how you see the Liverpool game. Yeah. Either way, it's not a win, but it's a potential loss or win. The big ones, when I look at my set of fixtures, it all boils down to, for me, Wolves and Leicester. Get 2 wins there, and we're in a happy place. We're in a very confident mode, and we've got it all to play for. Lose those games, sadly, my dream finishes after Leicester. If we haven't won 1.5 of those games, it's all over.
Yeah, I think he's got something there. Have you added up your points, Bertram?
No, I haven't done so yet. But it's not 26 or 24 or 25. That's for sure.
Yeah, mine's at 21.
Mine's 30.
You're 30.
What? Yeah.
All wins.
Yes. I have faith.
Wow.
I have faith. I'm sorry. I have faith.
Hey, listen.
I learned her lesson from the last 5 years. Clearly.
No. Listen, a lot of the guys there, and African Guna, look at the numbers there. We've seen a lot.
No, I agree. Of course, we all think that we want Arsenal to have 30 out of 30 points. We all do. That's what our heart wants. But it's not very realistic, is it?
Yeah, I mean, look, Arsenal Vlogs, I went 14 points. He's gone 17. That seems about right, bro. Considering what our form is, that seems about right.
I reckon we should have a 5er in on this one.
You know what? Listen, that might be, well, not a 5er, but a drink. You know, we all drink up we all meet up at the stadium, don't we? I don't know when Bertrand.
Let's see who wins.
I think I have about 16. I think it's somewhere around there.
16. African Guna, how much points do you have?
20 out of 30.
20 out of 30. Bertram.
I'm the only one that has 30.
I think I have 16 actually, because I have 3 draws and I have us losing to Liverpool and City. I don't see how we come up with 20 plus, given those rough string of games we have. Think about it. We're playing 2 games a week, and all the hard games apart from the Villa and the Watford games on the back end, right? We play our first 4 or 5 easy games, and we have a really rough slate of games.
But Bertram,
a rough time.
Bertram, we have 5 wins in Brighton, Southampton, Norwich, Aston Villa, and Watford. That's 5
15
wins.
Points.
That's 15 points straight away. All you need to do is win 2 more games. You're on 21.
You're not going to beat Leicester. You're not beating Wolves. You're not beating Tottenham. You're not beating Liverpool. You're not beating Man City.
That's what I said. That's why I said
18 points out. I'm sorry.
Important. Those 2 games are pivotal to our season. Leicester and Wolves.
And
Yeah.
Bertram,
I have 18 points. Actually.
Bertram, the question is, as we've all alluded to, what happens if we do beat Man City in the first game? That is where I am coming right back with you guys here, and we're doing this shit again.
Yeah, no, I woke up much earlier than you guys did. I woke up much earlier than you did. So I got out of my dream much earlier, and you still are still in the dream. So when you get out of your dream, you can tell me. I just don't see us beat Man City.
Bro, I've got the,
I woke up early.
Bro, I got the lowest number in the whole podcast. Nobody in the no one's.
No, but you say if we beat Man City. The question is not about the totality. If we beat Man City, and I said I woke up a long time ago. I just heard Tony telling me that they have world-class players like Mahrez and Sane, Rodrigo, Fernandinho, Aguero. Talking left fit. Their goalkeeper.
Ederson, Mendy.
I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Man City are beatable. Man City are beatable.
Ebony, you're right, because any team is beatable. We all know it's the Premier League. Premier League is the league of unpredictability, you know? And
you know what the funny thing is, Ebony, just to solidify your point, yeah? Man City have lost more games this season than Arsenal.
Yeah,
exactly. So this is why I say that we will beat them.
What's their record at home? Actually,
what was that? We will beat City. De Bruyne has been on the pie diet in lockdown.
I don't have the split on me here. I should do. I don't have the split. I should do.
Record at home and our away record.
Okay, so
our away record and their record at home.
Yeah.
I think it's all neutral now. I think this whole global pandemic and the way the landscape all changed, and you know everything is neutral now. It's kind of like a clean slate, or at least I'm hoping that the players look at it as a clean slate. There's no more what the statistics say this season. Everything starts all over again next week.
I agree. I totally agree, and it's going to be the same for the NBA. It's going to be the same for the most important. It's going to be the same for Formula One. Because Formula One is all done on pushing technology. Even when they finish the winter testing, they're still pushing the technology of the car. And throughout the season, different parts, different floor panels, different front wings, rear wings, different type of aerodynamic packages are brought in, engine designs are brought in while the season's ongoing. Because they've had this amount of time to sit in front of a computer, analyze data. It's going to change the whole concept of how the season works, and I think that's going to be the way for the NBA as well. The NBA, those guys play 82 games a season. You've stopped them right on the crux of the All-Star weekend, where the players supposedly are supposed to have a week's rest. None of them do, because they're all enjoying the show. They've had a rest. There's 3-month rest for the NBA. Now, we talk about our players don't rest. Those guys in the NBA, they're playing summer league. They very rarely rest. They always got a ball in their hand. The thing about the basketball is, once you take a ball out of your hand, it's easy for you to lose a touch for the basket. So those guys are always, even when on holiday, they're shooting hoops. For footballers, like I said, this is the longest break that they've had in their entire careers. I can't wait to see how they come back in competitive football. The German Bundesliga is just not a measure of it. I think when this starts and we see the Arsenal City game and the Sheffield game earlier on the day, we're definitely going to get a true idea of what is going on.
So, but I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they definitely prove me wrong, because I'm hoping that we win.
And
but
guys,
I am not optimistic.
Guys, can I also just add? Yeah, for those of you who are statistics based, Arsenal have lost 6 games all season. Wolves have lost 6 games all season. Leicester have lost 8 games all season. Manchester City have lost 7 games all season. So defensively, you can say that we're atrocious, but actually, we're no worse than Man City and Leicester defensively. We just got to turn those draws into wins.
Yeah, I've always, you lot have heard me, you guys are sick of hearing me saying about how our defensive records is improved under Arteta. The reason why Arteta is excelling now is for 2 reasons: getting results away from home and keeping clean sheets. That Emery couldn't do it, Wenger couldn't do it. That's why he's making a big change. And if we keep the format, look, I showed you guys the form guide. Form guide is always the last 6 games. Yeah, we've been for the whole of February and beginning of March. We have been the second team, yeah, in the form guide in the Premiership. The only team above us who's had a better record over the last 6 games is Liverpool. So,
Man United,
guys, I think we're confused about something. In the 1970s, a draw was a good thing. You get 2 points for a win, 1 for a draw. In today's environment, a draw is like a loss. If you have 1 win and 1 loss and 2 draws, in a better position if you have the 1 loss than if you have 2 draws. This concept that a draw is a good thing and we're unbeaten and we do this. We have how many points? 40. Man City has 57 points, and they have more losses than us. It tells you, when you're thinking about this, what a loss means versus a draw. We have only scored 40 goals all season. We don't score a lot of goals. Man City has 68 goals.
I agree, Bertrand, but the reason why I made the mark that I did wasn't for this season. It was for next season. So I talk about our defensive record under Arteta. Clean sheets under Arteta. We're averaging, letting in 0.91 goals per game. That's less than a goal a game. Emery wasn't doing that. Wenger wasn't doing that. So the reason why I'm saying this to you...
This is the new season.
But guys, we keep talking about this offensive firepower we have. Where are the goals?
No. All right, forget the goals. He'll address that in the summer. I'm talking to you about next season. What are we going to do in terms of challenging for top 4, challenging for the title? Where is this going? That's why I'm saying this is because I'm saying Arteta is using this latter part of the season to prep himself for next season. So when you talk about goals, he has to address that in the summer.
With new players, I'm not sure I understand, Apello. Is it new players? Is that these players going to be improved? I don't know how we're saying we're going to address in the summer when our midfield is not going to. We don't have money to spend.
Yeah, I know. But Bertram, all of the above.
I'm going to have to go. I have to leave you, but it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
As you said, you got my total. I'm on 22.
Yeah.
But
no, we're at the end now, Tony. So that's it from us, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the material. And thank you again for the super chat, for the donations to the channel. I appreciate it. Big shout out to all of you guys who have donated to 101 on Arsenal. Really do appreciate it. I want to thank my panel. Bertram, where can we find you?
Arsenal 101.
Excellent. Arsenal 101. And La African Gooner, where can we find you?
On Twitter at Le African Gooner and YouTube channel Le African Gooner. Would appreciate it if I could get to 150 subs. I think I'm at 143. Gonna start grinding again pretty soon. So
excellent, and it'd be good to see you on there. And we can do some game previews. Yeah, when the matches start, we can do some of those. That'll be brilliant to get the channel back up and running. Ebony, where can we find you?
101. The page on 101 on Facebook. And you can find me on Instagram as well.
Excellent, guys. So that's it from us this week, guys. We'll be back on Wednesday evening, hopefully at 10 o'clock. I kind of moved that around for Bertram because I don't know what his work schedule's like. So we'll see you back Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And we're 10 days away, guys. It's coming. It's creeping up on us. We're getting there. Man City, we're coming for you. Peace, and I'm out.
Peace.
Peace.